Let's see. Does that work? Hey, B, can you say something?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think they can hear us now. Can everyone hear us in the live chat? Can you hear us? We're back. Okay, we're back. I don't know what's okay. So every once in a while there'll be an update with Streamlabs, and it will turn off the settings for the audio and input and everything, and so it turns it off. You got to go back in and turn it on. But so that's what happens. So sorry about that, but we're live. It's Wednesday, and we got some things to talk about, some news to talk about. But I want to give a big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thank you everyone for hanging out with us this evening. I'm going to drop a link here in the live chat. Please retweet the link in your favorite social media space. And you know, I want to say something. Everyone, make sure you drink your water, by the way. I was mowing my lawn today and felt a little lightheaded and stuff. I was like, my shirt was drenched. It was hot. It's hot here in the DMV. And so drink your water. Took my blood pressure because that's what I do, just to keep, make sure everything's copacetic. And it was like 99 over 66 or 62 or something, which is kind of low. On the low end of normal, if you will. But I suspect that had something to do with maybe BRAP being a little dehydrated. So drink your water. Drink your water, especially if you're out there in the summertime doing yard work. And maybe lay back on the beers. But anyhow, we got a great show. We got a lot to talk about. Do want to introduce the panel. We got returning guests. We got Crusader 3456. What's up, Crusader?
Oh, nothing much. Yeah, no, the numbers throw people off because they're like, just like arbitrarily chosen. It's an inside joke with my cousin. Told me, put some numbers at the end of my username, but don't make it something stupid like 3456. So of course it had to be that.
I didn't even notice that until now. 3, 4, 5, like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's great, man. But no, man, great to have you back, man.
Yeah, it's good to be back on.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Definitely looking forward to talking shop with you as well. So, and then we have Game Logic, who I don't know, man. We racked up some wins there on Fortnite in trios with our good buddy T-Rock.
Yeah, a little bit. Didn't put a lot of effort into it. Just kind of came naturally. So, we should eventually get back to it, I would guess.
Yeah, no, we should. I think we won 4 matches in a row. Is that right?
Yeah, that seems about accurate.
Yeah, and then as you start leveling up, then you start encountering the sweaties. So.
Yeah, we should admit, we should put out the disclaimer that we were playing on a slow night. It was not a Friday or Saturday night when all the Dorito chip eating teens come home from soccer practice and get on there to get their dubs and drink their juggies. So we'll have to play it on one of the on one of the sweatier nights and see how we do.
Yeah, exactly. We definitely need to do that. T-Rock's in the live chat, by the way. What's up, T-Rock? Yeah, we got to test our skill set. I don't know, like a Friday night. You're right. Kind of see where we kind of land, but we did the other games that we lost. We did finish both times in the top 10, which is great. So, but that was fun. It's my first time really playing Fortnite, and I kind of get it. I guess that no build mode's actually pretty good. I do miss the gameplay of Halo Infinite multiplayer, though. I'll say that.
That the following night when I overslept on my couch and so didn't get into our session, and you went to bed early. That's what my pivot was. I went and played some Halo Infinite.
And how did that feel compared to like Fortnite?
It's different, and that's why I appreciate it. Right? There's and I get it. There's lots of people who are more invested. I mean, I will say right off the bat, my enjoyment of Halo Infinite comes from the fact that I haven't played the multiplayer for the last 20 years. Right, never spent any time in it. Okay. Did a couple like casual. I got invited to game nights like on a Friday night or something back like in the 360 days, and I always hated it, right? Because they were always going into these. I always refer to them as these goofy modes, right? That I didn't understand what the hell I was supposed to be doing. So I'm enjoying it now because I haven't been playing it, and you know, you're going to play a competitive first-person shooter, and I know there's lots of complaints about Halo Infinite, but I'm like, you know, if you're talking about fall of 2021, you know, like you and I have talked about, like, you know, what's your poison, right? Call of Duty Vanguard, not great, right? Battlefield 2042, not great, right? Halo Infinite has its problems. So, you know, amongst those three, I mean, pick your least loser, I guess, right?
Yeah,
And have fun playing whichever one of those you pick.
Yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt. Then we got B Money. B. I don't know where Forte is, but I would imagine that he has some crow to eat tonight because you, sir, called it.
Right again.
I love it. Right again. And B Money, what was it again? For those who don't remember, what is it that you called specifically?
Well, first of all, I told you guys that the game is coming out this year. And
God of War,
it was
yes,
cool.
Ragnarok.
Yep, God of War Ragnarok was coming out this year. I guarantee you that it was coming out this year. I told you. I have friends in many places, and I told you the game was coming out this year. And then, when we didn't get a release date earlier in the year, I told you that the strategy had changed, and PlayStation was going to release games in the holiday season. Then, a few weeks ago, when I was on the podcast, and I said, wouldn't it be funny? God of War released in November. And guess what? That's when the game is releasing. And I said that the game would release about mid-November. And it's kind of there. It's on the 9th. It was rumored to be around closer to the 15th, but they moved it to the 9th, which is a Wednesday. It's not a standard release date for PlayStation. It is out of the ordinary. But they are honoring Odin's Day. And that's the reason why it's releasing on Wednesday. So, you know, once again, when I say something, just listen, man.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I guess, B, my one question to you would be, have you, what do you, like, have you heard anything else, man, like from on the play? Because I feel like you hear a lot of PlayStation stuff. Maybe you hear Xbox stuff too. But like, what are you hearing, man? Are you hearing anything that is exciting that you're kind of like, oh wow, that sounds pretty cool on either side of the fence?
There's always exciting stuff going on at PlayStation. You know what I mean? Like, I always drop nuggets here and there, but there's always exciting stuff going on in PlayStation, in my opinion. I mean, they have definitely evolved from, you know, what they were on the PS3 generation, and even last generation. I told you guys that the strategy had changed once Jim came, you know, became the CEO of PlayStation, and you can see just about all the, you know, the things they've done over the last 3 years. You know, where they're trying to take the company. You know, investing in multiplayer games, investing in companies that are very familiar with the cloud, like buying Haven. You know what I mean, was not just something that, you know, came out of the window. That team, the leader of that team was working directly with Google. There's a reason why they picked them up. You know what I mean? Like, is doing it just gets me excited. So there's always something exciting for me in regards to what PlayStation has got going on.
Well, one thing I'm curious about, B, is, you know, then why don't you use your pull with Uncle Jim to get him to not ask us for $10 more for games?
Because I don't give a shit about paying $10 more for games or $50 more for games. If the game interests me, I'm gonna pay for it. I'm not one of these crybaby consumers on the internet who only cry about video games, but everything else in the world is going up and there's no tears to be found.
We'll get to that here in a second. But speaking of like kind of the changes and things that you're talking about, B, Haven Studios, that deal's final. I guess it was finalized now.
Yes.
So they're officially part of the of Sony PlayStation Studios. They've joined the family. That's Jade Raymond. I can't never pronounce her name for some reason. Jade Raymond Studio. And we know there was obviously some early investment on with Sony in that particular studio. It sounds like they have been in discussions with Mark Cerny, from what I was reading, I believe.
Hey, that's my guy over there. Something like a genius, man. People be sleeping on Mark Cerny, man. I'm like a genius.
The guy has this mad scientist vibe to me, but I can see
He does, man.
But I mean, he's I mean, look, man, he's kind of a, yeah. I mean, but yeah, I mean, but but it sounds like and I had the article up and I lost it. I was going to bring this article up to talk about the acquisition, but I believe that I think you mentioned something about when Jade was at Google. Isn't her, if I'm not mistaken, isn't Haven doing something cloud related too?
They are.
And aren't they like sharing that or working with other PlayStation studios or something? Did you read that, B? I feel like I read that somewhere and I can't find the article right now.
I thought it was ML.
Yeah.
Was it ML?
Machine learning stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I knew that that's what they were doing anyway, a while ago. But that's just something that they're, bringing to public knowledge. You know what I mean, as of now, because they're officially a PlayStation studio. But that's something that they've been working on. You know what I mean? That's kind of what Jade was working on when she was at Stadia. A lot of, that Stadia was basically built in the cloud. You know what I mean? It's cloud streaming. So a lot of stuff that they implement, in that game, it's going to be using the cloud and, being able to access, different things throughout the game, from the cloud, like, more expansive worlds, things like that, better AI learning and things like that. So using the cloud is not something new. And that's something that, of course, is going to be utilized throughout the rest of the PlayStation teams.
Yeah. And it'll be something you've talked about too is, again, this goes back to things changing at Sony. You mentioned numerous times on this podcast that like Sony's focusing on live service multiplayer games. And the article that I actually found the article at GameIndustry.biz.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now.
Yeah, they said that, this acquisition of Haven will continue Sony's investment in live service multiplayer games. And so, which is interesting because, as we all know, Sony's kind of not been known for its live service multiplayer games. It's, when we think of Sony first party, we always think of the God of Wars, the Spider-Mans, the Last of Us, the Ghost of Tsushima's, the Horizon Forbidden West, which I finally just beat that game. I think that's an incredible game. So again, this is kind of what you've been talking about the last couple months, and the pivot, Jim Ryan kind of taking the direction of PlayStation, pivoting here a little bit, and now introducing live services games, which, Herman Hulse is saying, hey, this is going to allow us to build larger worlds, allow us to create really meaningful social connections between players. So things are definitely changing at PlayStation. I think it's great. I think it's great because, it's I think anytime you can offer a diverse portfolio of services or things to consumers, it's a great thing. It's a really great thing. I mean, I'm excited for it. I mean, it's kind of been the one criticism I've had at Sony in the past is like they really haven't had any, exclusive live service or multiplayer. I mean, they have. I mean, there was obviously factions, but that's not something they really have invested, I think, much up until now. And I forget what the number is. B, I think you mentioned it a while back. What they talk about, is it 4 live services games are releasing the next couple of years, or is it more than that? I forget the number that you gave us.
No,
it's 10.
They have 10. There's
okay.
two. There's 2 releases. There should be 1 hopefully releasing this holiday season. There's 2 that should be releasing prior to the end of the fiscal year, which is in March, I think.
All right, so you're saying that there's going to be a new live service game that they haven't announced yet, launching this holiday?
It is quite possible.
Oh. Now, would this have anything to do with a word that rhymes with actions?
No.
Okay, so that's not it. Okay,
that game will be the following fiscal year.
So you think, okay, next year then. So now, is this a live service game that's, you think? I mean, do you know the developer? I guess. I mean, I don't know if you can say, but
I know some people working on it.
Oh. B, are you excited for this game?
Of course I am.
Oh man. All right. See, now you piqued my interest, man. Well, B, I mean, look, man, whatever you can share. And again, I know you have to be careful with this stuff, but if there's anything you could share, please share it. Let us know.
I will in a couple weeks.
Okay. Now, is this something you think they'll announce at their showcase? That's probably going to happen, and probably sometime next month.
I would assume so.
Okay. All right. For those paying attention, B is dropping nuggets right now. By the way, you know he's saying I assume so. So just think about that for just a second. Somebody in live chat said juicy. All right. All right. Any Crusader? Any thoughts on this acquisition? Or you know this this?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of like there's like 3 big developers right now who they have like a lot of prominence in history, and they have all announced that they're working on projects. One is Jade Raymond at now at PlayStation with Haven. Another one is I can't think of her name. She was from Naughty Dog. She's now working for she's working on a Star Wars game and a Marvel game. I don't remember her name.
Amy Hennig.
Yeah, that's Amy Hennig.
Amy Hennig. And then the third one would be Kim Swift, who was originally from Valve, and then she also moved around. She's leading up Microsoft's equivalent cloud publishing team. And I'm really excited to see what they are going to do, because like they all kind of like have done a whole lot of like released a whole lot of nothing for a long time, but like when they do release things, they're always good, you know? So I'm very excited to see like what those 3 are up to. Because I love like all of the games that like those 3 have done. Really, really excited because Jade Raymond, correct me if I'm wrong, she was very involved with Assassin's Creed.
Yes.
Or am I mixing her up? Yeah,
no,
yeah.
That's correct.
So
Yes,
I love Assassin's Creed. I'm playing through the first one right now. I've never played the first one. I started with 2. Because it was the one that I could find at the store used way back when. But I'm playing through Assassin's Creed 1 right now on my Series X, and you know, I love that franchise, so I can't wait to see what she's going to do. Does anyone play the Assassin's Creed multiplayer? Like way back when?
Yeah, I did.
I never played
I would love a game like that to be re-released. Like more in depth, because it's kind of like The Ship, or in real life a game of Assassin, where you have like someone's picture, and yet you're supposed to hunt them down, but someone has your picture.
Yep.
So you know, I'm very, very interested to see what she's going to end up doing, especially with the cloud stuff, and I'm excited to see like how they're going to leverage ML on the PS5, because like we've seen a little bit of it with like Miles Morales. But I'm very interested to see more how they're going to do it, because they're obviously not using DP4A, the protocol for big integer calculations. So very interested to see if like they're going to do like offloading of machine learning in the cloud, because that'd be really, really cool. But yeah, no, I'm excited. They want to know more, because it's hard to talk about this besides like her pedigree and where she was, you know, because we don't know anything that they're working on besides live service, and live service can be everything from like Fall Guys to Destiny, you know.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now, Logic, do you have any thoughts on this particular acquisition by Sony?
It'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. I think more so to me in terms of how Sony positions the studio with regards to technology. You know, they're working on one title now, but there's a lot of language in the initial interview from Jade talking about their efforts in R&D, and I don't think that that's just going to be. I don't know that they're going to turn around and become a studio that cranks out titles after title after title. I'm very curious to see if they're going to become a studio that cranks out one title and then pretty much dedicates themselves to kind of being the cloud engineering arm, cloud innovation arm of Sony to work on kind of baseline technologies and methodologies that they then farm out to the other studios. So kind of like I want to say I can't remember, was it a visual something or other that was kind of had that
art.
Yeah, that kind of had that position in the Sony farm for a while, but I hear that studio is starting to work on titles now more so than just technology. So I'm interested to see if this evolves into kind of a swap of those studios now that they've brought Haven into the stable, and things now are more focused on cloud than maybe just traditional visual methodologies and other things for game infrastructure.
Yeah. Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, according to that article at the game industry biz one, I think they're already kind of they're already working with some of the other PlayStation studios, I think, right now. I think that synergy is happening already, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back and read, but I think that's something I'm going to mention. Yeah.
Right. The question is if it grows and that becomes their primary focus and role, right, in the stable. Just like they now have a port studio. We originally thought that they were going to have kind of a remake studio, but we hear that studio is now working on original IP. So I don't know if they're ever going to get back to kind of being the remake remaster studio in the stable. So just overall interesting to see kind of how this goes and where it goes. If you look at them in comparison to Microsoft, right? Microsoft doesn't need to dedicate a studio to cloud engineering and cloud innovation, right? Because that's the core competency of the company. So I'm curious to see if the point is trying to enable some type of parity, right, for Sony.
Yeah, that's a great
I'm
point.
curious.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up that like cloud's a core portion of Microsoft. I'm curious to see how PlayStation will end up leveraging the cloud, because it's going to be way more expensive for them, right? So like, how
Absolutely.
are they going to leverage it? Whose are they going to? Probably Amazon's, but like, just how exactly are they going to use it? And are we going to see them announce like a deal with Amazon or something like that?
Yeah, but curious. Actually, you're reminding me now. So I actually wrote a kind of mini article about this on Twitter earlier this week about native cloud gaming and kind of. And I think I started doing a write up on kind of what native cloud gaming means, right? So right now, when we talk about cloud-enabled game technologies, we primarily talk about deployment and delivery. And so a game is deployed to the cloud, and then a game is delivered to you through the cloud. But up until this year, developers were still kind of doing their development in traditional methods, which means they were doing them on-prem or they were doing them, in data centers. But at the end of the day, some type of code promotion path had to be traversed, right, in order to get the game to where it was actually going to execute. And anytime you do that, you have a disparity of operational environments, right? So the development environment is different than the testing environment, is then different than the actual production environment. What native cloud gaming is a thing that makes that a little more seamless. And so in many cases in traditional enterprise today, right, you don't even have disparate environments, right? A lot of times these days, those environments are the same. They just get rebadged or retagged, right, from test to prod, particularly when you talk about spinning up assets and then spinning them back down and them being ephemeral. So, what native cloud gaming does is it reduces the amount of delta that there is between where you're developing, where you deploy, and where you deliver. And it removes the wedge of work that you have traditionally have to have gone through in order to accommodate the changes, right? Because prod is just never, ever exactly the same as test, and test is never, ever exactly the same as dev. And so there's always a certain amount of, I don't want to limit them to just calling them fixes, but the privileges and permissions and the way that the code executes is different across those environments, and so you have to accommodate that. All of these business ventures of Amazon and Microsoft and Azure in standing up these native cloud gaming development services are to allow, right, like Microsoft's deal with Sega is to allow developers to, particularly now that they need to be able to collaborate remotely around the world, is to just have them develop their games in the cloud already, so that you also get all the benefits of cloud security, right? When we talk about the past year and you count the number and do the read of all the case studies of all of the compromises there have been about code leaks. Obviously, moving to the cloud helps, because now, you don't have 23 studios that are all trying to figure out their own security, right, and how to protect their code. You just do it one time. So there's a lot of benefits to be gained by going that way. But some of the comments in this article lead me to kind of believe that this is not only about developing games in kind of a native cloud methodology, but also in leveraging other advanced functions in the cloud. And one of the comments in here definitely makes it sound like it's leaning towards auto code generation. And so there are a lot of efforts going on right now in the application of ML, so that it can, so number one, it can kind of proof code and correct code automatically without having to have human beings do that. And so, when you go to compile code, it spits back the number of errors that there are in the code, and then you have to go through like each one of those errors and fix them in the traditional method that's been manually and done by humans. But there are a lot of efforts now to build models so that when you run the compiler and it spits out those errors, that you can apply ML and AI to have that code automatically corrected. You can also do things like build models and then have those models. I mean, we've been doing this for a very long time. You could, traditionally use something like MATLAB or a model-driven systems engineering-oriented language and build a model, which is a even greater abstraction than just object-oriented code, and then have it automatically generate the object-oriented code, right, that you could then compile into an executable. So, things that they mentioned in this article, to me, makes it sound like they're looking at ways to auto-generate code. I wouldn't be surprised if it would be methodologies to enhance automation in making physics models, like when you need to build a tank or a Jeep, and replicate those things and iterate upon those things in a more automated fashion, which obviously increases productivity, reduces schedule, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, no, that's the interesting point there. I mean, that's a very insightful game logic. But then, I mean, if you're saying that some of these things are going to be automated, and you're saying that people wouldn't be doing these things, would that would eliminate certain positions internally in teams?
No, I would. You're not catching me in that trap. No, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, right. No, I'm just wondering. I mean, that's I'm wondering. This is the standard automation. I think of.
Yeah, it's a thing that sometimes people will go to. They'll say, this is the age-old conversation, right? Well, don't you guys just push a button, right, and yeah. and port the code? Well, no, it doesn't quite work there. So, in general, I think my answer to that question is overall, and this is where I always say things cautionary when people say, well, they're gonna do things to improve upon the schedule, or when we talk about Unreal Engine 5 and we talk about the ability of kind of a small team, right, to crank out what looks like a next generation game. One of the things I've mentioned before is as all these tools come into place and you talk about and you think about it's a 300 person team, it's a 500 person team working on a big AAA game, and I'm like, the fact of the matter is that in software development there's never a real gain in efficiency, right? We just figure out more stuff to do with that now freed up time, right, and manpower. So I don't know that it's going to necessarily mean that definitely that people will lose jobs or that teams will be smaller. In some cases that will be true, right? In more independent teams will be able to do things faster and quicker. I think my big thing for Sony Studios, and actually I've said this heavily about Microsoft and improving upon their production pipeline. Really, what I personally would do with something like this formulation and what is going on Xbox is I would consolidate all of my common functions, right, and put those in one studio or one group, or make a team out of the Azure team or something. But what I was just saying, where in many cases there are multiple studios all out trying to solve the exact same problem, right? And multiple studios rebuilding the same tools, and multiple studios, right, trying to handle security and run their own IT and have their own DB. Like, that type of stuff doesn't make any sense. If I were on Microsoft and I was having the production pipeline problem they were having, I would consolidate all that into a gaming infrastructure team, cloud game development tools team, and I would just say, look, all 23 of you studios aren't doing the same thing. I'm not paying for that, right? I'm going to pay for one studio to do it. I'm going to allocate them. They're going to build things, one time, maybe 3 times, maybe 5 times, but they ain't building things 23 times, right? and consolidate that. And that, in my opinion, for Microsoft, for instance, would help in the deterministic output and predictability of game releases, right? Because you would only have to worry about individual scheduling and scope management of, I'll just call it 70% of the traditional work that they're doing now, instead of all 100% of the work scattered across 23 studios.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, like I said, very insightful, Game Logic. Appreciate that, man. I do want to move on to, so you mentioned it. Somebody in the live chat mentioned Nintendo. I do want to mention something. We don't talk about Nintendo a lot here, by the way. I don't know why, we just don't. But we have a release date for Bayonetta. I can never pronounce this game either. Bayonetta. Thank you. Bayonetta 3, October 28th. Finally, it's coming. Anyone who's excited for this?
I'm excited for Pokemon. Pokemon's my most anticipated game of the goddamn year.
No one's excited for Bayonetta 3. And this game's been cooking for a little bit too. Yeah, B Money, are you excited, man?
No.
Oh man, no one's excited.
I mean, I'll pick it up when it goes on sale. Check it out. But it's just the whole hack and slash genre is not. I'm kind of past that, man. So it's not something for me to be excited about.
Do you feel like when Bayonetta first released on 2009, and I guess the hack and slash thing was a little bit newish then, right?
Yeah, I mean it kind of had a resurgence then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's when we were getting, the Devil May Cry 4, and I mean, like Bayonetta had came out, and there's another one, like big hacking. That whole genre. God of War was big then. They kind of, they saw they had to change that formula. Being a hack and slash was not, what I mean, the way that they could continue to, release that game. They had to change the formula, and I think. I mean, for games to kind of evolve, they, can't stay in that same hack and slash formula because people just, pass them by.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I'm excited that because I know there's people out there that would be looking forward to this game, and this game's been in development for a little while. And it's the last Bayonetta I think released 2014. Is that right?
Something like that.
I think 7-8 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been some time, and I know there's been some clamor around this game. So I thought somebody in the panel would be excited, but I was wrong.
2014, you're right.
Yeah. So okay. Well, I mean, I may pick it up. I'm just happy that I got a release date finally. I may pick it up at some point. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I'm on the fence. I guess it depends on maybe how the reviews are. We'll see. But Game Logic, I'm assuming you're not excited for this game either.
I'm not. I would actually be more excited for a Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance 2 or a remaster. That was my personal favorite of the hack and slash games, kind of that time, 2013 release.
Yeah, but
that was a good one.
Yeah,
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And speaking of Metal Gear, by the way, it's Metal Gear celebrating 35th anniversary today. 35 years of Metal Gear. Now, I remember playing that on the
got
NES.
some sort of announcement with that, but we still have not heard about this fucking game that should be coming out eventually.
Are you talking about the Metal Gear Solid remake, whatever it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that happening? Like, because I mean, we heard about this like 2 years, like pre-COVID, we heard about this. I mean, like, have you heard anything? Because like I'm almost like I'm almost wondering if this thing's actually going to happen still.
I think it's gone dark, man. I haven't heard nothing about it.
Yeah.
Every leak I've seen we have been able to debunk on the leak subreddit, like every last one of them.
Yeah. Well.
So, I don't think it's real.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder. I mean, if it happened, it'd be. I mean, amazing. I mean, Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation was just one of those, games that was just wow at that time. But no, 35 years. I mean, I remember playing the first Metal Gear on Nintendo Entertainment System, and just loving it. And I just can't believe that it's been that long. It's crazy. So,
Well, aren't they doing a movie, right?
are they? I'm not aware of a movie. Are they?
I'll look it up.
I thought they were.
I don't
Let's
know.
look it up real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oscar
yeah,
Isaac is supposedly cast in it.
Oscar
Yeah.
Isaac, he's going to play Solid Snake?
Uh,
Hold on a second.
Supposedly.
Let me see this.
Yeah. Oscar, here, I'll put it in chat.
I don't know about, what do you guys think about Oscar Isaac as Solid Snake?
I think it might be all right.
Really?
I think it's doomed to be a bad video game movie.
I don't know, man. I don't know if he's.
I
mean, you know what? I could kind of see him as Solid Snake a little bit.
Snake doesn't talk a lot, so it's not like
That's true. He
has to
doesn't
say
really
all
talk a lot.
these great lines and have this great personality.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he just really
I
needed
mean,
to grow.
Monster Hunter didn't have guns, but here we are. Like,
This is true. This is true. Yeah.
Master Chief didn't, slap cheeks, but here we are. Like,
Master Chief also never
not
had
gonna
sex
care.
in the game, and it's sex with a Covenant at that. And the Covenant accepted a human, but that's. And Cortana watched, so I guess anything's possible.
Yeah, so maybe when the movie comes out, they'll have that cross promotion or something.
Yeah, but this is Sony Pictures behind this, obviously.
Isn't the Metal Gear Solid remake what the Abandoned Studio is supposed to be working on next?
Oh God.
So
San Karaman, that's his next big project.
Yeah, his next big project, exactly. Let's see here. Who's the director? The director of Metal Gear is Jordan Vogt. I can't pronounce the name. Something Roberts. He's done. I don't know what he's done.
He did Kong Skull Island.
Oh, he did call.
And it's
Yeah,
being-
and Kings of
It's being
Summer.
written by it's being written by the co-writer of Jurassic World.
Oh,
So,
that
like,
that
of the
worries me
three
a
new
little bit.
Jurassic Park movies, the good one.
Oh, okay. Is that
There's hope.
It was the first of the three new ones.
Look, I just don't want to see Snake having sex the way Master Chief did. That's all I gotta say. So,
No, I don't think we'll see that. But he will be puffing a bunch of cigarettes, hiding in
Yeah,
boxes.
he might not. These days, there might not be any cigarette smoking. I don't. Is that in movies anymore? I can't remember. I mean, do people still smoke cigarettes in movies? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I think it depends on
I
the
haven't
movie.
noticed.
Yeah, I feel like
Depends on what it's rated.
Yeah, I feel like in the 80s that was a thing, right? Everyone's smoking cigarettes, I don't know. Who knows? That's going to be interesting. Oscar Isaac, so we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. All right. Halo. So Halo's co-op beta is supposed to release this week, the week of July 11th. Now, some people are kind of clamoring, saying, hey, what's going on? Why isn't it released yet? But Brian, you actually shared this with me earlier today. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Community
so
director
how
of
many
343 gave us an update. Yep.
Yeah, 343 gave us an update on that. It's coming this week. How many of you guys have been insiders longer than Halo Infinite for like the Halo Insider program? I'm just curious, like of the people in the panel.
Nope.
And anyone?
Nope.
Okay, so I know a lot of people like the Halo Insider program is brand new to them with Halo Infinite. The flights getting delayed has been a thing since Halo 5. This is nothing new. They always give us a date and then they always hit it like 2 days later. Like they've done it since they introduced this program with Halo 5 halfway through Halo 5 and then reintroduced it into MCC when they like completely overhauled MCC back in like the late 2000 teens. So I'm not shocked that this got pushed back to the masses who have been introduced to the Insider program because this is the first big game where it's been used since launch. It's annoying, and it's annoying especially because it's a feature that should have been in at launch. Now, granted, I think Forge is the more important feature to come to Halo because it would allow us to make maps for multiplayer as a community like we always have since Halo 3, but that's neither here nor there. I am excited to try co-op campaign. Very, very excited. I'm in the flight. I'm supposed to be, at least. I got like an invite. Um, so uh, it needs to happen already. And I get it. These are builds that like they throw together at the last minute to get as many features in as they can to test. It's how their flights always go, whether they're private or public. And yeah, it's a little annoying that we have to wait a couple more days, but like it is what it is. The game is just like I'll be back to the game when Forge comes out as a whole. I'll help them test, but that's about it.
Yeah, for me, did you guys see that something came out of, I don't know if it was an article or something on Twitter, that like 60% of the game was removed.
Yeah, so someone was quote tweeting a Jason Schreier article from like 6 months ago. It's not new news.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially, it's not like they had originally planned like a few different projects that were all running side by side was like the first thing, and basically I think there was at 1.5 different games being developed, and then they chose one of them and scaled it back a bit. By a bit, I mean 60%. I mean the game was still big. I really enjoyed the campaign. I'll fully admit that. I was frustrated I couldn't play it with my buds when it first came out, but I did really enjoy my time in that campaign. But yeah, no, everything that has come out of 343 makes me just frustrated and mad.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
And I don't feel like I'd have half of these frustrations right now if the game had launched with Forge. And I've been clamoring about this for months. We wouldn't be in a content crisis in multiplayer if Forge had released. That's why like everyone was so mad about co-op campaign, and I was mad about Forge, because at least when there's Forge, the community can make its own content regardless of how much content 343 has actually been putting out. This was true even with Bungie back in Halo 3. The community was making maps. Those maps were making it into multiplayer. The community was making modes. Those modes made it into match-made multiplayer. Yep. You know, it happened in Halo Reach too. Half of Halo Reach's maps are Forge maps. You know, like it's so frustrating.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, like for me, like co-op, whenever it comes in, I know it's coming in beta. It's too little, too late for me. When I initially played the campaign, I enjoyed it, but as time has gone by and I've kind of reflected on it and played other games, I'm like, I don't think it was that good. It felt barren, empty. It screamed like this is the way it was designed is you need to play this with someone else, with your buddy, because let's face it, playing. I always say this. I'm not going to say that. Never mind, because then the live chat's going to get riled up. But look, no, I just think that Forge, like you're right, like Forge, like in Game Logic and I've talked about this, and we actually still do play Halo multiplayer quite a bit. That it needs more maps, and the community could have delivered and provided that. And
we
and
always have.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, to your point. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that would have, I think that would have kind of softened the blow a little bit with some of the feature sets that are missing, or the fact that we're not going to get new content update for quite some time. The fact that the community could have supported some of those things, I think would have softened the blow. But here we are, and I want to see Forge come before. I don't care about co-op anymore. I just don't. I would have preferred to see Forge come sooner than, or come before co-op. In my opinion,
they're both supposed to be coming at the same time. We're supposed to get the co-op at the end of August, barring everything going well in this flight, and we're supposed to get Forge in an open but complete beta where they're basically just looking for bugs, also at the end of August. That was at their last update when they told us this, so Lord knows it's going to be delayed another 6 months. But I kid, but part of me isn't. If we have another 6-month season, I'm gonna scream.
Well, let me ask you. So if Forge comes back end of August, are you back in Halo then?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll be back in within a week because the fucking, sorry for cursing.
No, it's okay. You're good, man.
There is a crazy Forge community. Always has been.
Yep.
And they will have modes created within hours, if not a few days, right? So I'll be back almost immediately because me and the boys will go play custom game, right? Because like that's a big element. I know. I think it was Logic who was saying earlier that he didn't like all the weird game modes that he didn't understand what he was getting thrown into. But like that's a huge like part of Halo's identity is its weird fan-made custom games, almost like Gary's Mod to an extent. And every release of Halo since Halo 3, the first one with Forge, has only had better and better and better custom games. Maybe with 4 being a little bit meh. But like Halo 5's custom games were insane. They were like, say what you will about the game's campaign, right? The campaign was that multiplayer was good, and the custom games were great. So like I'm very, very excited for the return of custom games. And you know, and I'm very excited that we can get people to work on essentially the community itself, as we always have, supplying maps, because Halo is a community-driven game. It just is. Like it's always about sharing the maps, sharing the modes. There's almost always a community test realm server. There's the weird action sack mode where everything under the sun is created by the community, like the weird paintball modes and Husky Raid where you have random weapons and it's capture the flag and it's just a kill zone, like single aisle that you're in. You know, and it's just dumb fun. And we're missing that community-driven dumb fun element of Halo right now, which is, I would argue, just as core of the experience as co-op is.
Yeah, I want to address something in live chat. Jeff B. Gaming, you are no, I'm sorry. Halo's reliance on Forge is just as much as Bethesda's QA or modders. The fan base makes up for dev incompetence. I'm sorry. This mode was
never been true.
No, I mean this mode was in play when Bungie was. Bad take, Jeff. Terrible take. I wish I could throw like terrible take in the live chat, like make some kind of like emote or something. That's terrible. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It was a mode that they put into Halo 3 because they used it in-house, and they figured why not throw it in. They didn't expect it to blow up like it did, and it just kind of shaped the future of Halo, because Halo went from just an arena shooter that was, I mean, it was a very, very, very good arena shooter, but it went from being just an arena shooter to being this community-driven masterpiece. And I also don't think that there's a problem with games being designed around mods. That's another thing. I mean, if your game's broken, that's one thing. But like, if you give your community the tools and that becomes part of the fun, then that's just part of the fun. Like,
yeah, I mean, you guys are being valiant, but I really, I'm not telling you to stop. I'm just letting you know the waste of your time it is trying to explain that to that individual.
Okay.
We all know that mods, like the uptake of mods, is one of the key tenets of games on PC. You have people who wouldn't play on PC if they didn't have mods. You have some of the most popular community.
By the way, I'm sorry. Some of those popular games have been like Counter-Strike was a PC mod.
Right.
Dota was a PA.
Dota. Yeah, go ahead. What's our good?
The other thing is the notion of a mod being provided for a console game at the time Forge launched was pretty much unprecedented. Had never been done before. Certainly wasn't done on the scale that Forge was, and certainly not for a game as popular as the Halo franchise. So yes, it's tough for them to deliver it. There's an argument that it should have been there at launch, but what they are attempting to do and what they're attempting to provide to the community is, it's not like every game that's coming out on console has a mod module built into it. It is not something that is still common to this day. So the notion of that comment is just kind of I'll stop short of what I would have called it and just call it ludicrous.
Yeah, and like mods are like if we're looking just even outside of like Halo, mods are so core to they were so core to Bethesda's experience of games that they got PlayStation and Xbox to allow you to download them on the consoles. Now, granted, Xbox allows a bit more of the custom created elements than PlayStation does, but PlayStation still allows all kinds of really cool stuff to download and play on the game in a game like Skyrim, in a game like Fallout 4. And like the fact that they got the companies to do that with outside created content from their console, like because like at least with like Forge and like other map editors, you're creating them on the device and you're sharing them within the device means. With something like Skyrim and like even outside the Creation Club, just being able to download something like as basic as the unofficial patch is wild. And I cannot think of another game that got away with it like that. Can you? Like is there another one that anyone else who did anything similar to what Bethesda was able to do on Xbox One and PlayStation 4? I don't think so.
Yeah, and I mean, and the other thing to add is that it's an incredibly heavy QA load. It's an incredibly heavy test load, right?
Yeah.
You think about the test load that there is for, testing something like Madden, right, where you just have millions of players who are going to play the game doing, just radically, crazy, game inputs that no number of test cases will ever imagine, right? It's just virtually impossible, right, to catch every exploit, right, or every glitch that a player can pull for something like Madden. And then you talk about handing the tools to actually create content within that construct, and you have yet again another layer, right, exponentially, right, expanded upon, where players can do things that you might never imagine or intend. And then you have to test that to make sure it, as much as possible, that it doesn't blow the game up, right, when people try to do that. Or once that thing is built and it's deployed, that there's not something that's going to blow the game up once it becomes an executable and it's in runtime, right? So, it's just a matter of scope that needs to be acknowledged, I think, and a matter of the value that added that's being given to the game. To say nothing about its scheduling challenges and problems, but again, to indicate that it's not a small thing to provide, and it's not a thing that's been provided to make up for some notion that Halo's not good and people don't want to play it, and the only way it would be interesting is if they gave creator content tools to the community.
Yeah, no, it's been very much like Crusaders has been very ingrained in the community since Halo 3, pre 343i. And again, like for me, it's if Forge comes back, end of August, like, and again, I'm still playing Halo Infinite multiplayer. But to me, that's huge. That's a huge and that would get me very excited. And I would imagine that probably some people would come back. I mean, right now, I don't know what the numbers are on Xbox, but at least on Steam, there's not a lot of people playing it right now. Yeah, it's not good at all.
It's still in the top 20.
Top 20 on
it's
Xbox.
Number 18. Yeah, I think it's number 18 in the US.
Yeah, I mean that like if you would have told me 20 years ago that Halo would be like not like top 5 games played on Xbox, I would have laughed at you.
I think Forge will start a recovery, and then if that Project Tatanka is good, Forge is supposed to tie into that, which is wild. Whatever that Project Tatanka BR like mode is going to be that we've only heard whispers about, if that actually ties in with Forge, that's gonna be wild. Because like Fall Guys just got did it get it? I don't know if it just got it or if it's getting it soon, but it's getting a level creator, and that's gonna be wild for Fall Guys. That's gonna be so cool. That's gonna be
really cool. Yeah.
Because a dev team can only churn out so many maps. Like even if they're at peak efficiency, they're only going to create so maps. You give these tools to the hands of like a few thousand insane fans, you're always going to get more content than they could ever create. And that's why like I love games that give that kind of sandbox. I mean, I've even thrown my hand at making very, very bad Java mods for Java Minecraft. Like it's fun. because there's nothing wrong with creating your own fun, especially when you're given the tools to do so, because then other people are going to get to enjoy that fun too. Like,
Yeah.
it's why I can never jive with anyone that's like complains about that kind of stuff. It's except for when you rely on them for bug fixing, which Bethesda kind of does. That is a problem. But like getting new content, like the insanity that is like beyond Skyrim. Have you guys seen that? I know I tag Mooch in it all the time. It's a running joke, but where they're recreating all of the other provinces in Skyrim, insane.
Yeah, I mean, some of like there's some really cool mods out, like PC mods. Like I was thinking about like if you guys have seen the mod for Grand Theft Auto 5 that makes the city look like Los Angeles or something, or it's almost like I forget what mod it is, very lifelike. So there's really cool stuff like that, and those things. I mean, I think those things. Look, they add just another option or potentially additional value. So, anyhow, look, I'm excited for Forge. If end of August is going to happen, I'm all for it. I hope it does happen, because again, I never want to see what is it launch? What's that map that I hate? Game Logic.
Launchpad or something like that.
Launchpad, yeah, I hate that map. I hate it. Like, don't throw me in like Fiesta and Launchpad. Like, that's ridiculous. I don't want to do that ever, ever. So, but anyhow, B, any thoughts on Halo, man?
Nah, man, I don't care about Halo.
All right then. B does not care. No, I hear you, B. B,
just correction on the matter. It's launch site. Sorry.
Launch site is okay. I thought it was like Launchpad or something myself too. So, all right. Did you guys see Sony revealed its PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium games? Did you guys see that? That was released today. Looks like so they announced new games heading to PlayStation Plus subscription service on July 19th for Extra and Premium members. Stray's actually be one of those games. Stray, I don't know. Like I don't know if I'm going to play this game, to be honest with you. I might give it a try. Is this a game that you've kind of might be interested in or thinking about picking up playing?
I'm gonna definitely check it out, see what it's about. I'm not really a cat fan, but
come on, man, you weren't a Blinks the Time Sweeper fan or whatever. Remember Blinks?
Nah. But I think I'm gonna give it a chance. You know what I mean? It's Annapurna is publishing the game. I like a lot of stuff that they do, so I'll at least give it a try, see what it's about.
Yeah, Annapurna. I mean, decent, some pedigree there. Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, I might give it a try, man. I mean, I feel like this is the kind of game. People always like to compare, Game Pass to PlayStation Plus. And, obviously Sony's not doing the day and date first parties, AAA first party stuff, but it seems like these smaller titles, this is kind of what we're going to see with the service. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing per se, because, I think,
I mean, this is what Sony does. They find those gems. You know what I mean?
I was just about to say that. Go ahead, man.
They had Rocket League. Look at what Rocket League is today. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
Rocket League was huge. Yeah.
Look at all the smaller titles that they kind of attach themselves to and release day and date on their services. And Fall Guys was one of the more recent ones. That had a pretty big following and whatnot. So you never know. You know what I mean? It's a shot in the dark. But if all the cat lovers and things of that nature get over there and gravitate to the game, it's it's on a service, it's quote unquote free, as everybody likes to call these games that release on services. If it catches fire, then good on them.
Yeah, no, I hear you. What about you, Commander? Is this a game you're kind of that you might try out?
Just say Commander or Crusader?
I said Commander. I'm a Crusader. I'm sorry, man.
It's all good. It's Mass Effect. I'll go with Commander Shepard.
Yeah, there you go, Commander Shepard.
Yeah, it's actually part of the reason why I decided to upgrade my stack of PS Plus to PS Plus Premium. I'm stacked the whole way through 2024. And I'm happy that they put a cap on the price of that upgrade, or I would not have upgraded. It only cost me like a 1 year's worth of premium to upgrade it. It was actually not a horrible cost. So I will most likely be playing Stray. I do think that anyone who used to like how games like Oddworld and Bug Snacks and like the other games that they would distribute for free on PS Plus, like the small double A, maybe slightly bigger than indie size games. I think they're going to be launched on Extra and Premium now as a way to try and bring in a little bit more revenue from those services, and I think that's fine.
Yeah,
I
just
don't.
imagine if Sifu was one of those games. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Or like Kena was one of those games that would have released on a service. You know what I mean? So if they can kind of position themselves to get those types of games on a service, I think it's going to be pretty good for them.
and I think it's way easier to get those style of games, like price wise,
Right.
onto the services. And just like with Game Pass, it's going to be very good for those size developers, because it's not just like everyone focuses on, oh, it covers like the cost of a lot of their development. It doesn't just do that. Like, that's a very big thing that it does. It gives them a lot of security in their positions, but it also, because of like podcasts like this one or like TXR, where I'm a co-host, because we talk about these services and we're talking about Stray, they're getting a ton of advertising by being on that service, both officially from PlayStation and unofficially through people like us who will be willing to talk and discuss about these things. And I think that's something that should really be discussed more, that like it not only covers like the cost of development, but it covers like marketing too. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that like anyone would be talking about Stray to the same extent as like we are now because of this. You know what I mean? Like, getting the exclusivity and timed deal is one thing. I assumed it's a timed deal. Have they said if it's a timed deal or permanent? I'm going to assume timed.
Yeah, they haven't said.
Yeah, I'm going to assume timed until it doesn't show up other places. But like getting those is one thing, and people will talk about those, but when you're actually like handing the game to a group of people, that's a whole nother story, right? Like, we see games like that just kind of explode in how much people will talk about them. So, I love from every factor that PlayStation is seemingly at least doing a test run of this with their new service with indie/AA games. I think it's great. I love it. I'm all here for it. And it is the sole reason I upgraded, because boy howdy was I upset with the premium offerings otherwise. Extra is great. Premium I was upset with.
Yeah. No, I got, I guess, grandfathered into the top tier because I was already subscribed. But no, I agree. It's interesting. You talk about that mind share or that free advertisement per se that a game like Stray is going to get from just being in that service. I think that's certainly something that I don't think a lot of people talk about. And I think it's a big benefit for, some of these smaller studios, to have that opportunity to kind of, I guess be in the limelight, if you will, and have people like try their game. I mean, because if it wasn't for this game being in a service, maybe not a lot of people would have tried this particular game, and now there's an opportunity for that to happen. So, but that's a great point, Commander Shepard. So thank you. There was also some other games announced. Stray was one of them. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade, Marvel's Avengers. Wasn't that already there or something?
only the PS4 version was, and I think it left.
Okay.
I'm hoping that they are adding, when they say these games are coming, we are getting both versions, because that wasn't explicitly stated to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Because that's something that needs to stop.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think they.
Did they say both?
Yeah, I think
Yes, they did
announce
for
them
Avengers.
both.
Yeah,
Yeah,
PS4,
okay.
PS5.
PS4 and PS5.
Because that needs to end. They need to knock it off with the you only get one version, whether it be the next gen only or the last gen only. Just license it properly, please. I beg you.
And then there's a bunch of Assassin's Creed games there. Unity, which I actually went back and played Unity on my PC, and I was really enjoying it. Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is my favorite. That's Assassin's Creed 4. It's actually my favorite of the Assassin's Creed game.
You're wrong, sir.
What's
You're
that?
wrong. You're wrong.
Oh man, Black Flag was great, man. It's my favorite. Come on, man. The
Assassin's Creed
Pirates?
2, baby.
Yeah, two is the best one, bro. What are you talking about?
Nah, man. I gotta go with the Pirates. Gar.
You gonna play Skull and Bones too, right?
No, I'm not gonna play that.
God, no.
No, I'm
So
not gonna play that.
one question on Final Fantasy Intergrade, and I will be playing Skull and Bones. But do you get the extra chapter that they added? It says you're getting the PS4 and the PS. You are getting the PS5 version, but are you getting the are you getting the extra chapter? Yes.
That I'm not sure of.
The leak that had literally all of these games in it from like a week ago said you did. I don't think it's been expressly stated. So I'm going to go with maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I know both Microsoft and Sony are working on improving this, but I agree with Crusader, and it's not just the PS4 and PS, like the whole cross-gen presentation layer of the storefront and how everything is handled. Now it's extrapolating across the subscription services as well. It's just like literally like I feel like the worst bit of commerciality that I've seen from any of those platforms since time began. Like it's just horrendous. I feel like when you're trying to go in the store and you're trying to understand what you're buying and you're trying to understand what you're installing. Again, I know that it's improved, but like it's just been a travesty since launch. How like the multi-generational versions are being handled on the storefronts. So unfortunately, I just don't know if it will go across. With this Yuffie upgrade mess, it seems like there are gradual improvements in some places, but then things are actually worse in some other places.
It feels like a feature that they realized they had to do with like a year and a half left. Does that make sense? To like they were like, oh crap, we are going to have to support all of this.
Yeah.
In our store because our competition's definitely doing it. And you know, and it's only kind of going to go away because it's not like these games are going like as time goes on, we'll have more PS5 games and like the PS5 games will be the focus. But like it's not just going to go away because like all these games are still going to be there, and like I assume that a good selection of them are still going to be on this PS, the PS Plus Extra and Premium because like the whole idea of that service is it has like all of the greatest hits that they can get onto it from the PS1 through 5. You know what I mean? And it's gonna lessen, but it's never gonna. It's a mistake that's going to be with them for a long time.
No, I agree. Forte has asked on the show a couple times, did we think, they're just going to move on to the next generation or if this generation is going to get longer? He keeps trying to backtrack on that and say that it is. I firmly believe that it's not because as we can see on the PC side, the technology is marching on. And the only thing that may delay, the 4000 series cards, might be an overabundance of supply chain inventory in the 3000s. But I still am doubtful that that's actually going to culminate. But I do feel like what will happen and what will linger is I think people are going to hold on to their PS4s for much longer than they would have in previous generations. And people aren't going to necessarily... I mean, my approach to console upgrades has almost always been You take the old console, you grab up all the physical games. I roll down to, GameStop or eBay or whatever, and I get rid of all the old stuff, and I take the credits and I buy the new stuff because I don't have time to hang on to the last generation thing. But I think this generation we're going to see a much larger number of people holding on to their PlayStation 4s, and so the inventory, right, of that storefront. Like, I agree with you, Crusader. It's those PlayStation 4 titles are going to continue to persist to be in the same store. It's going to continue to be a unified storefront where all that stuff is in your face. I know you can use filters, and sometimes that alleviates the problem, but sometimes it doesn't, based on how version control is done across the different versions. So yeah.
Well, then you have to think, like, are they gonna axe the PS4 generation when they move to the PS6?
Well, that to me is kind of I've given, like you said, I've given up on this generation getting better. What's really going to be interesting is when they go to the next generation, having had this problem with it being as acute as it is this time. Are they going to take lessons learned and apply it to the next time around and do something better about cross-generational storefronts?
But are they still going to be stuck with the PS4? Or are they going to cut that? Do they cut almost what? When the PS5 came out and we looked at the PS4 library, there was something like 5,000 titles? Are they going to cut 5,000 units of essential inventory that they could just sell? Or are they going to try and move it forward? Because then they're stuck with it basically forever.
I could see it persisting for one more generation. I feel like part of what's caught up in this is, despite what they're doing with the PlayStation subscription service, I still don't, and I'm just making this comment admittedly without thinking entirely through it, at a very detailed level. I still don't feel like this alleviates a near global approach to backwards compatibility.
Right.
And so,
it doesn't.
Yeah.
Especially not in the implementation on the PS5.
Right. And
it's essentially segregated to a legacy mode.
Right, and so therefore you're going to continue to have the PlayStation 4 stuff lingering. I think we'll see it edge, whereas we saw basically a retirement of the PlayStation 3 right before the PlayStation 4 generation was over. I think we'll see the PlayStation 4 actually linger on into at least the beginnings of the PlayStation 6 generation before the cord is fully cut. And I think you had a super chat, BRAP.
I do have a super chat actually by Borbor Kotri with the $2 super chat. PS4, PS5 clearly asks what version you want to download. Thank you for that super chat, Borbor.
Yeah, like I said, it has improved over time. My point was at the launch of the generation, it was not that clear, right? And that's why you had all the reports of the problems that you had where you would buy a version of the thing, and unless you specifically went in and asked for the PlayStation 5 version to be downloaded, what would actually be downloaded in some cases was both. In some cases, it was the PlayStation 4 version.
Well, and then we have problems with saves not going, That's still, in games that are still getting new upgrades today, that's a problem. I think one of the most recent ones that I can think of now, it's not that recent anymore, was Doom Eternal, right? Doom Eternal's, you couldn't transfer your single player save at all. And I hope we see a lot of these things get better as time goes on, because either this generation's going to be long or it's going to be short, and I don't know which. If it's short, they have a short time to learn. If it's long, I hope they take everything they learn and implement it well.
Yeah, Forte's in the live chat says he thinks it's going to be extended at least 1 year. Forte is ducking us, by the way.
What is he's saying the generation is going to be 9 years? How long?
Yeah.
How long are we thinking a generation is going to last?
I think by the addition of 1 year, it would be 8, right? They've been 7 years the last 2 times, discounting the year leap ahead that the Xbox did, getting the 360 out a year early. Right, because it was 2005 for the 360, 2006 for the PlayStation, and then the new consoles came out in 2013, and then we went 2013 to 2020.
He's saying inventory. He's saying that's why. I don't know what he means by that. By Forte, do you mean I don't know what he means. Someone's upset in the live chat. Arsenic Steel. WTF are you people talking about? The backwards compatibility of PS5 to PS4 is 99% complete. He hates word weasels, apparently. Okay. Good for you there, Arsenic. Might want to lay off the Mountain Dew, buddy.
So I'm sorry. Is the contention, and help me out because I'm not a PlayStation expert. So are all PlayStation 3 titles backwards compatible in the subscription services now?
No.
Be it and available to download?
No.
That's
Okay. Then that statement is quantitatively incorrect, right? Based on the premise of what I'm talking about. When I talk about near universal backwards compatibility, I talk about, you look at the Xbox model, and what they have done is they have made virtually as many titles as is technically feasible, right, to do backwards compatible and available.
Well, I would say that Sony has done the same thing.
Well, help me out. And the question about whether or not all the PlayStation 3 titles are backwards compatible and available via download, is that true or not?
So is every Xbox 360 game available for download?
Yeah,
No,
No.
there's not.
Everyone that has been deemed technologically feasible is available for download. Where they've pulled up short is the ones that require a level of effort that doesn't warrant making that extreme effort.
or
Exactly.
licensing.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So like when it comes to the PS3, they're still putting in that effort.
Okay, so we're saying because it's ridiculously we require a ridiculous level of effort in order to make those PlayStation 3 games available, despite the fact that there might be 20 360 titles versus 200 PlayStation 3 titles. We're saying the criteria is the same, so it's the same thing. I see where we're going with that. I don't necessarily agree, but I understand the rubric you're applying.
I would argue that there's still a considerable amount missing from even just streaming only as well. And a lot of like good ones at that. A lot of very good games at that are missing even from just streaming, let alone being able to download them digitally to the console.
Yeah, but hey, look, just for me to back off the controversy, I don't care. I don't play on PlayStation. I play on PC. If you're satisfied with the backwards compatibility degree that you have on that platform, then good on you. Full sails ahead and have fun. By my rubric, I think that the numbers fall short. But again, I mean, does backwards compatibility really matter? Everybody rah-rahs and pom-poms about it, but how much time do gamers statistically actually play rearward in backwards compatible titles versus playing what's new? I don't know, but the companies have said that it's a big deal. I don't know that it is. If you're satisfied with the numbers that are there, then I guess you're good.
Yeah, I'm in terms of BC, to me it's a nice option, but it's not something that I partake in. It's just not.
I mean,
And
you can check. Oh, sorry.
I just want to B Money. That was not to you. That was to the audience. I fully respect your opinion, and like I said, same thing with a little less snark to it, right? But if you're happy with the consumer, then I can understand that the perspective that the degree of backwards compatibility is sufficient.
Yeah, because like you can look at my PlayStation profile right now. Like, backwards compatibility is very important to me. I got very, very, very upset that it was still going to be streaming only with the new PS Plus, to the point where I went out and spent almost like $150 on used PS3 games so that I could actually go back and play these games. So I thought finally, with the rumors of the new PS Plus, that there was actually going to be maybe a move towards native play. There was not, and I was like, okay, that's tick one of me being mad. Tick two was when not only did like a ton of core PS3 games still not get added, but we lost Sly Cooper. Sly Cooper's just not on anymore. It was on PS Now, not on the new PS Plus. Really weird.
Right.
So I've gone out and I have now been just playing through the backlog that I was hoping Sony would give me.
Yeah, and I think when I was on those platforms, the thing that I would find as a consumer bothersome would be just when the title was inaccessible, right? It didn't really matter to me. I mean, it was a neat move that Microsoft went back and did all the work they did for their back catalog. It's a neat move that PlayStation is doing the same, although I feel like I said the numbers are different. But what I would find bothersome, right, would be like I was not interested in hoovering up all the backwards compatible titles. What would bug me is if I had a day where I wanted to go back and find one specific title, right? I had a nostalgic yearning for, right, a thing, right? But I couldn't get to it, right? Because it just wasn't available. That would be the thing that I would find bothersome, not necessarily the volume, right? But the availability of specific titles. So
Yeah, that's like
and
not
that's
a
kind of where
problem.
I'm at too,
Oh,
because like
okay. Sorry.
like the BC
You-
stuff, but
Oh.
we Marvel vs. Capcom. You know what I mean? Like I can't play Frozen Time. I can't play X-Men. I can't play, you know what I mean, the Simpsons games. Like all those games are just stuck on those consoles. So like if I can't play the stuff that I want to play, like I can't play NBA Street, none of the BC stuff matters to me then. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it's cool for all the people who get to enjoy the content that they're looking for. But if stuff that I'm looking for isn't there, I don't really give a shit.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I'm with kind of. I feel the same way. B. There's very few games, like older games, I want to go back and play BC. You know, but I want to grab the super chat real quick from Borbor Country with a $5 super chat. It's true, but the Xbox library is tiny comparatively, barring the PS3 streaming. The PlayStation Plus has more options, game trials, quality of individual titles, etc. Thank you for that super chat, Borbor. Appreciate it, man. Love the name, by the way, too.
Yeah, and as always, I'm not going to get pulled into the conversation on quality. That's such a ridiculously subjective thing. So that definitely goes down to the right eye of the beholder. But again, what I go back to right in response to that comment is
it's a nice transition, by the way. But go ahead.
Right. If you're gonna go down that pathway, right? My feeling goes back to look. The back catalog of backwards compatible titles is what it is per platform, right? You have to decide whether or not that meets your needs as a consumer. I'm not suggesting that the backwards compatibility solution is more thorough on Xbox, and so people in the PlayStation camp should switch sides and jump fences, right, and go over to the Xbox side, because that's not going to happen, because you guys are all ground and anchored to whatever your chosen brand is at this point, and you're not going to be convinced or swayed otherwise, so that's not nearly the point. The point is, for me, the technical approaches were different, the programmatic approaches were different, the business models, in my opinion, were different, and so the Xbox solution offers a differentiated product, and that's all I was trying to point out, and that's all my question was, because as we go back to what B said, it's not a matter of, has the entire back catalog been kind of hoovered up, right? But are the specific things there that you're looking for? And my point is that on the PlayStation side, I think there would be some PlayStation 3 things that would be missing. But again, if you're fine streaming those, then I mean, good on you. You should be okay and good to go.
Yeah. I do want to go through this list real quick. There's one game my kids are very happy about. The Paw Patrol on a roll. They're very excited about that. So I just want to throw that out there. But there are a few Assassin's Creeds in there. I mentioned it earlier. Unity, Black Flag, Rogue Remastered, Freedom City, the Ezio Collection, Saints Row 4 is in there. Saints Row Get Out of Hell is there. Spirit of the North, Ice Age, Scrat's Nutty Adventure, Jumanji the video game, Ready Set Heroes, and then for the PSP, No Heroes Allowed, Loco Roco Midnight Carnival. So those are the games that are coming. Let me grab this.
Two super chats.
Yep, let me grab the super chat from Big Block Cat 1101. Quality subjective. Gets Peppa Pig and Paw Patrol. Thank you for that super chat. Borbor Country gave the $2 which is Halo versus Horizon Forbidden West. Sometimes it's booty subjective. What? I don't know how to.
Very different audiences, very different games.
Yeah,
both
different
were good.
games. Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Halo's problem is that there has been enough post-launch content, and that like two things were missing at launch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead and get the super chat now.
No, I was gonna say just thank you for that super chat, Borbor, but I don't. I don't agree with that. Different games.
It seems like that was maybe a thing to throw shade at by saying I'm not going to get I'm not going to get pulled into the quality argument, right? Because it's subjective, right, to each individual player. And I get it. I have the utmost respect for Slow-Mo, who just popped into the podcast, by the way. Slow-Mo has a perspective on what is high quality. I get that, and I respect it. I don't know that the differentiation, as he points to it, matters to me in terms of what content that I'm playing right now. What matters to me is whether the content that I play is fun and stimulating to me as a gamer, And whether or not there's a notion, in air quotes, that a given title is high quality and another one isn't, that doesn't mean anything to me. It can't be quantified. You can't put a number on it. And I apologize, but most of the lens that I view the world through is around quantification. So, there you go.
I'll actually say that. Like I'm very much on the side of play what you want, and what is considered quality is
what's up, Slomo, by the way?
Different on per person. What's up, Ricky? What's up, everybody? Like I really thoroughly enjoyed Disco Elysium, but I know a lot of people will look at that game visually and be like, "Oh, that game's garbage." But it's like it's not supposed to be a looker. That wasn't the intention of the developer.
It's kind of
it's a point and click role-playing game, and a very different role-playing game than people are used to. There's no combat system. We're not, at least in the sense that like you would expect to have a game with combat in it, for a traditional RPG, and people aren't used to those kind of things, and that's fine. But like that RPG won multiple awards the year it came out, and it deserved it. And even though some people it may not be some people's cup of tea, that's just that's gaming. That's how things are. Like some people are gonna like same things and some people aren't. And some people are gonna say, "Oh, that game's dog shit," and then other people will be like, "That's one of the best RPGs I played this decade." It's gonna be different. And so what people consider to be quality is just always going to be changed. It is subjective, And I know that. So that super chat from
Boy.
He's changed his name, but I forgot what his previous name was, but I remember that profile pic. But like, but like the funny.
Oh
thing
that's Boy doesn't have a pro. You're talking about big block.
Yeah. It used to be something else. Can't remember what it is, but he's making a joke about talks about quality subjective, likes Paw Patrol. Yeah, that's exactly it. Likes Paw Patrol. There's nothing wrong with that. I make joke on it because it's freaking Paw Patrol, right? But
my kids love Paw Patrol.
If your kids love it,
it's like that meme. You won't understand it, but your kids are gonna love it.
Right.
I mean, like, no, there's a Paw Patrol game on Game Pass right now. My daughter's playing it. She loves it. It's the best thing ever.
Right. And this is the whole thing about, and this is kind of what bugs me about a lot of the dialogue. This is the whole thing about where there is a vastly different rubric, framework, terminology, taxonomy, lexicon around the consideration of art.
I love that word versus lexicon, but I'm sorry.
Versus things like industrial design. I can put two pieces of hardware next to each other and talk about the quantitative differences, right, in the quality of their build, right, of one cell phone versus another, of one laptop versus another, right? That's different. Yes, there's an argument that a percentage of that industrial design is potentially artistic, but I would contend that the vast majority of the rest of it, right, can quantitatively be compared. I don't believe that you can do that with art. I believe that video games are art. I believe that certain things appeal to certain other people. We can have an argument that a thing is of a higher quality, but if I'm not playing that stuff, then it doesn't matter. Somebody asked in the chat, "Hey, Game Logic, are you going to play Ragnarok?" I'm not going to play Ragnarok, right? You can have an argument with me that Ragnarok is a higher quality game than Halo Infinite or Skull and Bones or EVE Online or Destiny 2, but I'm not playing point A to point B story-driven content right now. So I could give a crap about any argument there is about one of them being higher quality than the other.
Wait, Game Logic, you play Destiny 2?
I do. Yep.
Oh, we totally got to play.
Yeah.
And that goes back to my thing about quality is subjective, because that game, Destiny 2, is the biggest, baddest, nastiest, like, flag-driven turd there is. And yet people play it, and it's okay. It's okay that people
million
play
people a day play it.
Slow-mo is clearly not a fan of Destiny, if you can't tell.
I actually, it's actually a decent shooter. I just like the.
The mechanics are great, Slow-mo. You can't deny that. I mean,
the mechanics are right. There's better.
I'm here, and we got to take Slow-mo through a raid.
No, oh, absolutely not.
I am down.
refuse.
If
No,
you guys want
I'm
to take
not
me
doing a
through a
raid.
raid Crusader, I am down. I have not raided
yeah,
in
I'll
quite
take
some
it.
time.
No.
Dan would
Take it,
absolutely
Enrique.
love to take you through one.
Take Enrique through a raid. Let's see if Enrique can actually has the time. You know, Enrique, how about your entire Saturday? Or is your entire Saturday free?
I need an hour.
Oh,
I can
okay.
get him
Look,
through, I can get anyone through a raid in an hour.
okay.
In an hour.
I can do that.
Yeah, we're gonna do Vault of Glass.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh no,
Well,
I don't want to do Vault of Glass. I want to do like the new.
Yeah, I
raid.
mean, I can shoot.
You want to do the new one? I need 2
Yeah.
hours.
Okay, 2 hours I can give. Vault of Glass I've done so many times. I don't want to go back and do that, but I would definitely do the. I want to do the new one, and I don't want to
I'll
play
do
with
the new. I'll
Forte.
take you through the new one.
Yeah.
Even when I used to play Destiny and I would do the raids, I'll always be like, hey, all right, so that new raid, you guys already figured it out yet? Great. All right, yeah, let's do it now. Because I do not have the time to be 6 hours out of my day arguing with people. No, we're supposed to do this, man. No, we're supposed to do that. Shut up. Nope.
What are you
During
doing?
Yeah.
During
I
the
remember
height
those
of
days.
COVID,
What are you doing?
during the height of COVID, when like the lockdowns were happening, and there was like literally nothing to do. Destiny had made it so that like the original 5 raids in Destiny 2 were all loot was uncapped. So every run you did, regardless how many you did during the week, you get more loot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so because I had nothing else to do and I was so bored at home, I learned how to teach entire teams of 5 people how to do the raids. And I got very good at it. I was running people through the raid Scourge of the Past for probably 6 hours a day. Just that was what I was doing on my weekends. And it was some of the most fun I've ever had, because you cannot imagine like the cheers that some people had when they beat their first raid for the first time. And that was the easiest one for me to teach, because I could handle sometimes 2 or 3 of the mechanics on my own. But
all right, game logic.
So.
We gotta sync up, man. But look, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to cut you off. Because I have about 20 minutes left, and I want to get to this last topic. But as we're talking about,
you call it game logic.
Did I call you? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm a Crusader.
whatever.
Crusader.
He called me Commander tonight too. It's all good.
Yeah, I called him
me
Commander
Forte
Shepard
all the time. So
yeah, I know. I'm just
he's
bad. with
old,
names.
man. He's just old. He just
I am old,
can't
man.
remember names well.
I can't. Yeah, I really can't. We were talking about how quality is subjective. There's something else that's subjective too. There's something else that's subjective, and that's the value that someone assigns to a consumer product. And for those who don't know, in 1988, the year 1988, Ronald Reagan was president of the United States. We paid $50 for video games. That's the equivalent to $128 today. Now, you may be asking, where am I going with this? So The Last of Us Remake is coming out this fall or September. Priced at $70. And as the case, and I don't know why this happens only with, and B, maybe you can explain this to me, that don't know why this happens with Sony first party games, when Sony really wasn't Sony gets a lot of the heat, if you will, in $70 games, AAA games, but the reality is, and the funny thing is, they didn't really set the market per se. It was actually 2K games first. I think it was July 2020 that said their games will be $70 on the upcoming current generation we're in now, and then Activision shortly after the following month. But again, every time this $70 thing comes up, and again, mostly with Sony, and I think it's more about Sony than it is actually $70.
Of course.
The conversation comes up. $70 is too much. Oh, you can't tell people to not complain about $70. Are you saying that people shouldn't have the right to be consumers and voice their displeasure? No, that's not what anyone's saying. What I'm saying is, look, these things. Look, I here's what I think with the $70 thing, and I to me $10, and B Money said this earlier, like $10 isn't a big deal for me. And if you look at the last 14 years of video games,
You're a rich bastard. Go ahead.
Wait, would you say I'm a rich bastard?
That's because you're a rich bastard. I'm joking.
Well, no, I mean I'm not rich. I did.
You are kind of well off though.
No, I'm not. I'm not. You made me lose my train of thought now.
I know. That was the point.
Oh, come on, man. I'm bad with names. I'm old. No, but what I guess what I'm, for me, like, so I look at 14 years and games are $60 for 14 years. And in that time frame, the cost of living has gone up in 14 years. The cost of milk has gone up in the last 14 years. The cost of Coca-Cola has gone up in the last 14 years. The cost of pretty much every other consumer product you can think of has gone up over the last 14 years for the most part. The cost of labor, the people that make those video games, to hire those individuals who are a very highly desired skill set, that there are not a lot of those individuals out. They cost a lot of money because there's not a lot of those individuals out in the job market that are qualified to do that kind of work. That cost has gone up. The cost to do business has gone up. All these things have gone up, and I understand if you don't want to pay $70. That's fine. We all make those decisions with other consumer products. What I don't understand is the shouting from the mountaintop every time this comes up and yelling and screaming and kicking when you probably don't do this with any other consumer product. You're going to AMC to watch movies. You're paying $15. You're paying $6.50 for the popcorn, which hasn't changed in the last decade when it used to cost $2.50. You aren't yelling at the box office, why is my popcorn the same, but the price has gone up? Why? You want that butter? That's an extra 50 cents to $1. Are you yelling at the box office that should give you IMAX for free because you've paid $15 already? I just feel like, again, and I've said this a million times, that it almost seems like with gaming, we forget that it's no different than any other consumer product, and I feel like people treat it differently than any other consumer product. Like, it's not that gaming is immune to the laws of consumer behavior and capitalism and all the other stuff. And yes, companies are greedy. We all get that. Let's stop pretending that these companies don't want to take money out of our wallets. Yes, when you sit there and say, oh, but they got record profits. Well, of course. They're publicly traded companies. That is their job. That's what they're supposed to do.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, man.
So I do see the side of the argument where people are complaining about the fact that it doesn't have the multiplayer that was in the original game. And therefore they kind of feel like it's not worth it to them, which again is still
that's the value. That's the value being subjective piece. I don't
exactly.
And I don't disagree with that.
Because I don't disagree with it either, because there are clearly people who never played the multiplayer. Like, there are people who played that game, went through the story, loved it, never touched the multiplayer. So for them, is it the same value? It's not, right?
Yeah.
As far as they're concerned, they're just like, well, I didn't miss out. I'm not missing out on anything.
And can I ask a question? So I didn't play it on PlayStation 3. I played the first remaster on PlayStation 4, which had the multiplayer. Was the multiplayer in the PlayStation 3 original, or wasn't that
Yes.
Okay, all right.
It was.
I'm almost positive.
Yeah, and I scratched the surface of the factions, and then just was like, you know what, I'm not interested, and I just never went back to it. I mean, at that time I was playing, other COD mostly. It wasn't of interest to me, but someone's saying, and here's the thing. So someone's saying that, hey, you know what, I think this version, I'm not going to pay $70 because it's missing something that I find value in. That is perfectly fine. I don't disagree with that. Again, right. If someone says, "Hey, $70,"
if you love factions,
yeah,
and you play a lot of factions, yeah, I can see them like, nah, this ain't worth $70 to me, and that would be perfectly fine,
Yeah, if someone says $70 is too much, that's fine. Like, no, but let's not I guess the issue I have is people acting like $10 is so nefarious it's so. I don't agree with that.
Can I jump in for a second? Because I'm one of the people. Now, I will say that my actual problem with the game, because like the cost is like so minute that like it almost doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because that's not my actual problem with this remake. But my problem in general is not even the $10 increase, but rather that this is a rather true remake that, I mean, we don't normally see remasters and remakes cost the full price of the game. Like, we never do. Unless the remake we don't see remasters ever. But unless, like, the remake itself is, like, completely from the ground up, absolutely brand new, like, different mechanics and everything. I'm talking, like, Resident Evil 2 and Final Fantasy VII Remake, which, honestly, that's, like, an entirely different game. They're not normally the price of a full price game. You know, normally they're like when we were in the like last generation, they were like $40 versus $60. In this generation, we've seen it with the added price of the Miles Morales with the remaster of the original, where it's essentially a $50 increase, or I think it came out to something like that if you bought the Ultimate Edition to Miles Morales. So my problem is more or less that like this and even Demon Souls were retail price to begin with. They're the equivalent of a full retail game because they take effort to make. They take a lot of effort to make. They do not take the same effort as a holistically brand new game. The level designs are all there. The basic what the enemy model is supposed to look like is there. The core concepts of the game, the balance, everything is there. I mean, even the combat systems are there. It's just not from the first game. It's from the second game, right? So it's not the same level of work that goes in to make it, yet they are selling it for the same price. Does that make sense?
So I don't disagree with you, and this is the same argument that I said about Miles Morales. This is the same argument that I say anytime this topic comes up, because I say my own personal perspective from somebody who works in software development is that I know for a fact that that thing, like you just said, does not equal the same level of effort as the other thing did, right? The sheer number of engineering hours is simply less than, right? And that's how I personally evaluate value, right? But everybody doesn't have that perspective and everybody doesn't put that lens on it. And so when I said that about Miles Morales, people said, oh no, it's absolutely worth, X number of dollars to me, even though despite the goofy, convoluted Byzantine upgrade path that, Jim Ryan and Sony does with their stuff. But I guess my feeling is that like the price is being set at the portfolio level, right? You're just going to pay, right? $70 is looking like it's going to become the new standard for games of this generation. And I guess for me, my view of it is it becomes so convoluted to think about the remasters and remakes. In my mind, remasters and remakes always cost the regular full retail price. But a lot of my problem with making sure that I'm perfectly accurate in that perspective is that so many times the remasters and remakes are some type of collection. Right, and so it's tough to determine whether or not that's actually the chronology. I think at the end of the day, to me, my own perspective on this is it's just the portfolio level price. Jim's saying, and he's been saying for a very long time, if you want a new game on the PlayStation 5 generation, next gen, you're gonna pay $70, and I guess that's why I haven't on that piece of the topic. I think there's 5 or 6 kind of subtopics in this area. But for that one specifically, that's why it hasn't seemed that bothersome to me. Just because.
Yeah. I agree with that completely because you and I work in very similar fields. I'm a sysadmin and I do QA work a lot of the times for the custom apps for our system. And so like I see all this stuff all the time too, because some of our custom apps takes like minutes for us to essentially like port to create a completely different app for a completely different group because we've made them so modular. And it can, and in that case, we don't put in the same level of effort. We don't charge our customers the same amount if we have a thing that we can ship that's very similar. And like I have no problem with $70 games. I bought PS5 specifically to play Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. And yes, was I happy with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart? Arguably only an 8-hour game. You know, like I got the platinum in 9 hours. And I loved every second of it, worth every penny I spent. I'm pretty sure I even bought the digital deluxe, you know? And I've had lots of conversations with Mooch over on Crossfire about this, that like I'm so happy for him that he is so excited for this Last of Us Part 1 remake. And that's great. I'm going to be waiting for it to hit PS Extra because I do not see the $70 value. Maybe $50, and if it drops in price before it hits PS Extra to $50, I will absolutely buy it. My problem is that, well, I have multiple problems, but my financial problem with it is that it's a remake, and I don't feel that it should be $70.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of swirl around this singular title, and to me, I almost kind of pull back a little bit from the singular controversy of the Last of Us remake, because it gets, like you said, it gets convoluted around other issues. To me, the thing that I am resistant to and that I just absolutely don't agree with is this notion that that it's unjustified for games of this generation to cost $70.
Yeah, that's dumb.
I think all of the data points to it otherwise being the case, and people who know all of the data that points to the fact that they should cost at least $10 more, or that it's absolutely reasonable to ask for $10 more, still take this consumer stance that they don't care about like all of the realities. And what I don't understand is this insistence on burying your head in the sand and ignoring the realities of the world, and just religiously standing on this pillar that it shouldn't be $10 more, or you're not going to pay. If you're not going to pay $10 more because it's not of value to you, that's absolutely acceptable. But to not understand, I think, what was a comment in your post, in your tweet today, BRAP, somebody was like, well, inflation doesn't equal value. I'm like, if in your mind the product has become devalued over time, that does not eliminate the existence of inflation, right? That doesn't mean that the entire world pricing scale hasn't escalated around your singular, isolated, flat earther belief, right? If you want to stand on that pillar, fine, don't buy it. But I get really confused about this whole insistence that like reality is not reality because I say that it's so.
Yeah, the only exception to the argument that games could go up to, could have a price increase is really the more live service or multiplayer games that have had a functional revenue increase, just not at the core price of the base game. I mean, arguably, we've seen those games even move towards you don't have to pay for the base game because they're just going to make all of their money from purchases inside the game. Like, I actually have far more issues with Call of Duty being priced at $70 than I do with something like The Last of Us being priced at $70. But that's because why don't I talk about Call of Duty? Because I'm not going to buy Call of Duty. I don't want to play it anymore. I don't find it fun anymore. I haven't found it fun since Ghosts. So like, I'm only going to talk about what interests me, and The Last of Us remake interests me, but also upsets me because of other interests I have. And so like the $70 price point for single player games is like far and away understandable versus something like say Call of Duty or NBA 2K or FIFA, where those games have had functional revenue increases that honestly they make more from those revenue increases than they do from the sale of the game.
Question for you guys.
Go ahead.
Is this even going to be a debate next year? When, well, I say when, but the most likely scenario is that Microsoft/Xbox goes the same route and starts pricing their games at $70. Would this still be a debate? Would this still be why are games at $70 now? Like,
I think if everyone had done it at once, the debate would have been over. I think it's a problem because the industry didn't move as one. Because I mean, Nintendo certainly hasn't moved yet. Lord knows if they will.
They still make probably because they rarely put their games on sale.
On sale.
Yeah, they could stay at 60 just fine because when other games would go down to $30 and $40, they're still at 60 and still selling at
I don't know
62.
I don't know that Microsoft has the same kind of drive to change the price because I mean I guess they kind of do because if Microsoft increases the price, it drives people to Game Pass, but then it's a bad look. If they don't increase the price, well, they're still do they still really care about the price because they want more people to get it with the subscription service anyway.
Yeah,
I mean,
it didn't
so, like,
Psychonauts 2 the physical
the
yeah.
Psychonauts 2 thing was priced by IM 8-bit though. Like Microsoft's
okay.
not, IM 8-bit's
But
doing all of those
yeah.
additions. So like, did Microsoft price that? I have no idea.
But in COD $70 now, Microsoft's not going to pull that.
They're not going to pull that back. No.
Yeah, and the other thing, and I
it's
said
this thing exactly where it
Yeah,
is.
and I said this on Crossfire last week. The market has look. This is the other thing I tell people. Look, the market's ultimately going to dictate whether or not. Because that's the other thing. People act like consumers don't have say in any of this, and that the market doesn't dictate. How successful products are. I mean, yeah, a company can price something, but if the market rejects and say no way, this is overpriced, then it's just not going to work. And so the market has already accepted $70 games. And I said this on Crossfire. Microsoft's a for-profit company. They have shareholders. If the other big publishers have set the price point at $70, and they have, Sony's doing it, Activision's doing it, presumably Microsoft's going to own Activision, 2K's doing it, EA's doing it. The shareholders aren't going to be happy with Microsoft leaving money on the table.
Well, my only counterpoint to that is that do they even care about the pricing?
Yeah.
And I honestly mean that. Do they care when they're when they don't want the regular sales to even be their primary distribution model anymore?
I think
like,
shareholders
I think
shareholders care about money.
Them.
They care about money. And I don't see them leaving. I understand they want to move people into Game Pass, which is another reason why I think they go $70. Because
I agree with that. I just don't know if it's gonna happen next year.
Maybe not. But I think $70 is even more of a value proposition for Microsoft as to why you need Game Pass. And from a marketing perspective, I think too, it's, hey, you know what? On the other side of the fence there, you're paying $70. You don't have to do that with us. We got this thing called Game Pass. It's $100 and something a year. And not only do you get AAA games that would normally cost you $70, but if you get 2 AAA games a year and maybe another like indie or so sprinkled in, the service is already paid for. So like that's a big sale to them. And
I think they could definitely go up to $70 regular price for their games next year, considering they doubled the price of Xbox Live in order to try to force people over to Game Pass. But
I mean, you saw how well that went over for them.
Yeah, but it still was their mentality. So that was still a decision that they sat down, planned, and then decided to do, and only pulled it back because there was a universal collective, everybody holding hands, kumbaya backlash of what the fuck are you doing? Undo this shit immediately, kind of thing. And so that's when they decided to change it. But like, I think
so
if they did this, I don't think anybody would do all that.
Because I mean, like, you then look at Steam where they're selling the game at the same price, but they're losing 30%. And it's just they make all of these weird moves that none of them really line up with each other. And like I said, I don't know that the price increase is going to come soon because they don't have to. They can get the good publicity that they're selling their games for cheap and get the people who still want to buy games. And then they can also be like, also Game Pass, not $70. So I don't know that the added $10 outweighs the marketing that they can get for not doing the 70. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like they do make they obviously had an upswing this generation. Game Pass is a part of it. Their games being cheaper could also have been a part of it.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say.
I just think because the market has kind of accepted this, I just don't see them saying, hey, you know what, we're going to be the good guys and leave additional $10 on the table. Because, additional $10 is better than additional $0, right? And so I don't see them doing that. I could be wrong. I just don't. I don't see that happening, especially with the fact that
I
the
see it
market's
more
already been
likely
set.
that they come up with more ways to monetize. Like I see more things happening, like the Forza Horizon edition for like Game Pass, where like you could pay the $40 to get like the DLCs and stuff with the Game Pass edition, and you got the early access just like the premium players. I see them doing more initiatives like that rather than attempting to piss people off with increasing prices. You know what I mean? Because they're on very fragile ground where it is. Because
but would people be pissed off though? Would they have Game Pass? Because I could see the argument being, you know what? I don't care about $70 because I get Game Pass.
I don't think it will piss off a Game Pass player. Like it's not going to piss me off.
And is it going to piss off people?
I've been Game Pass for forever.
It's
going to piss off prospective new customers because they're on shaky ground. Like they've been on shaky ground for years, right? Like one wrong move and
are those
it could crush their femur.
But I guess what I'm saying is, but those new customers, though, some of them are probably, you got to imagine, some are probably already paying $70 for games. Some aren't. They're not going to get those people anyway. But
majority are, because the majority of gamers are casual gamers who are playing 2K,
True,
Madden, and FIFA, and all those games are $70 now.
Hey, and BRAP, you have a butt ton of super chats.
Yeah, there's a bunch of super chats.
Yeah, let me get these super chats here. Borbor Country with the $5 super chat. This is one of the reasons why participation trophies in elementary school are bad. It makes people entitled. If 70 is too much, then welcome to life. Thank you for that, Borbor. Let me see here. Borbor Country again, the $2 super chat. We don't know enough about The Last of Us for your statement. I think that was
in reference to me.
Yeah, but I do agree with what you're saying there, because I thought it was a good point. Great point. A Hectic World with a $5 super chat says, just wait for Xbox to do the same and watch the narrative change of a $7 price. Sony good, Xbox bad.
I do think there are some people who are legitimately upset about the price change, but I do think the majority of people really aren't upset about it. Their brains are locked into this fanboy logic where anything that is something that the other company, I say other company in quotes, is doing is bad, and I have to find a way to twist it to that is bad, or to discuss the narrative of why it's bad. But as soon as their company does it, they're literally arguing the exact same points that they were arguing against, sometimes just a week later. You know, it's pretty funny, and we see this pretty often in the gaming community, and I really kind of view this as no different. Not saying everyone's doing that. It's not everyone, but it is the vast majority of the people that are complaining about this. Like, because they had zero, like I've seen some of the people who did have problems with like 505 games in Control and Remedy when they priced the Control Ultimate Edition the way they did. It was like, yo, like this is the same exact content that you already put out. This is nothing new, and yet you're charging more for this. Like, it was ridiculous. So some people did actually complain about 2K and the price of NBA 2K, but where was all the vitriol that is out now for Sony? It was not there. And it's only there because it is Sony. Because when 2K did it, when EA did it, when Activision did it, when Square Enix did it, nothing.
Oh, Square Enix got a lot of it from the PC players. Like that's I will say they got just as much, if not more, when they put Forspoken at 70 on Steam. They definitely.
Oh yeah, especially on PC. On PC, yeah, like on PC when they made Final Fantasy 7 Remake, $70 on PC as well. You know, people complain about that as well. The funny thing is though, is like the storefronts know better. So like when they came out with Final Fantasy 7 Remake on Epic Game Store and they priced it at $70, Epic Game Store same day comes out with a store-wide coupon for $10.
Yeah,
they know better. You know, Square Enix could be stupid when it comes to see. That's understanding markets, right? Epic and Steam know their markets. They know what their markets are going to pay for and what they're not going to pay for. And so, but the thing is that 2K and EA and Sony know the console market pretty well too. And a lot of people are going to complain about $70 games, but guess what they're going to do when they want to play that game that bad?
Yeah,
They're going to buy it.
I think part of that for me, not to say that it's right, but part of it for me is messaging. And this is what I've talked to BRAP a lot about. And, I'm not going to say that it's right or wrong. I'm just going to say that it is, and it causes a thing. Many times, in my opinion, PlayStation makes a thing out of a thing that doesn't need to be a thing, right? It only becomes a thing because they insist on flapping their gums about it, right? Right, wrong, or indifferent, this is like cuts against the grain of one of my personal philosophies, which is that like I'm not going to have a conversation with customers that I'm not actually looking for their feedback on, right? I go talk about the Jason Schreier stuff, and he's like, well, the management didn't talk. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to take time out of my day to talk to a media outlet about things you guys don't understand. I'm not going to talk to you about my staffing. I'm not going to talk to you about crunch. I'm not going to talk to you about things as if you're a software development expert, because I'm not going to spend that time, right? And so my thing about Sony with this price, and the reason why I feel like they get a lot of the flack is, when Activision did it and 2K did it and Square Enix did it, and I get it, Square Enix got flack, they just did it, right? They just set the price and they shut their mouths about it. But with the PlayStation dialogue, the messaging is always, we believe in generations. We believe in high quality. We think that people want, story-driven narrative games with high cinematic quality. We think that the PlayStation customer base is willing to pay for that content. Right? And every single time a thing goes down, it's always the same drumbeat and it's always the same thing, right? Horizon Forbidden West, Miles Morales, the Spider-Man upgrade, the convoluted upgrade paths. It's always this messaging of, we provide you guys high quality. We think that you want to pay for it. When you say that you don't or you complain, we just reiterate to you that you guys actually want to pay for it. So even when their own customers are saying, hey, this is a problem, they tell them, no, it's a very Apple-esque approach, right? And my personal feeling is that's why, one of the reasons why they get the thing, because they call attention to it by talking about it so much.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, 2K did kind of make an announcement, but it was like they said their piece and they were done. That's actually
right. There's no
point.
debate. There's
no
like,
this is it, and they're done. They didn't.
Right. If anyone complains about it, it's just like, all right, so what you gonna do, not buy the game?
They didn't.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't try to over-explain why they were doing it.
The reason that they don't have to, or they didn't have to, is because so many people spend money on the game regardless.
Exactly. Exactly.
For them coming out and saying that their game was $70, it wasn't a big deal. Because if you are a 2K player, you buy the game at $400 anyway. You know what I mean? So like $70, we don't care that the game's $70. We paying $100 anyway out the gate. You know what I mean? Just like this year, there's a $150 version of the game. They have two versions, the Championship Edition. Both of them have Michael Jordan on the cover. The one version comes with NBA League Pass, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is the most expensive game, that we ever seen." It's like, but it comes with League Pass. League Pass costs like $300. So for $50,
wait, how much is that version be?
It's $150
with League Pass.
There's a $200 version too. That's that the $150 version isn't even the highest SKU. But I mean, my thing is, but shouldn't that same thing be true for the Sony customer base? They own the largest market share. They've followed this strategy.
But the thing about Sony games, like we've talked about in this same podcast, is their games have always been known to be single player games, no microtransactions. We're getting these cinematic games. So like when they come out and say, "Yo, we're charging you more for the game," they want to explain why they are doing that. Whereas like a game where you're already paying microtransactions, you're already spending the extra money on the game's like, we don't give a shit if the game's $10 more, because we gonna give you $50 or $100 or $300, $5,000. You know what I mean, to play your game for the next 12 months. You know what I mean? That consumer base is totally different. Whereas if you went in buying a PlayStation game, you bought the game, you enjoyed it forever, X amount of hours you played the game, and you moved on to the next thing.
That's actually a great point, B. Yeah, I didn't think of it like that.
You got another super chat, Enrique.
I got a lot of super chats I got to get. Saydu.com with the $2.99 super chat says, all new animations, asset levels, but not worth it. Thank you for that super chat. Boardboard Country with another super chat, $2 super chat says, plat verification needed on your 9 hours. I did 20 hours. Oh, I guess he's,
Okay.
yeah.
2 hours were AFK, but I'll get it.
Let's see here. Steady Flow with the $10 super chat says, just because another company making the physical edition, don't double fine Xbox get a cut of the profit because they own the IP. So Xbox did give the okay to price it at $70.
I mean, sure, but they priced it's not like that game was priced at $70. That's a collector's edition that has other bullshit in it that's priced at $70. You can buy the digital version of the game for $60. That is what it launched at. In fact, I think it's been discounted now to lower than $60 base. I can't confirm that or not. I played it through Game Pass. I don't care. But it is not the same. Like, I Am 8-Bit set the price of their weird baseline physical, I can't believe this edition even exists for the game. Like, it's not. It's a whole lot of not.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is you are getting some additional feature sets with it. It's kind of like, it's a collector's edition. I mean, that's what it is.
It's like the
it's called the Motherlode
collector's edition.
Yeah, it's called the Motherlode edition too. I mean, so it's not, yeah. And then Steady Flow with another $10 super chat. Thank you again for that, Steady Flow. Appreciate it. It says, that's the fate of PC players that want PlayStation games day one. With PS5 owners, y'all will have to pay $70 just like PlayStation owners. So be happy to get it years later on a $50 price tag.
I know you got to get through these super chats, and I'm going to let you, but I'm just going to respond to this one really quick.
Yeah, that's
look. If I wanted to play the $70 game on day one, I would just go buy a PlayStation 5. I've made the conscious consumer decision that I don't want to. I'm not slaved to any determination of fate by any other company. If I want to go do a thing, I'll go do a thing. Look, and part of that statement is valid, and it's not a flex, but I'm just going to say there's 43% of the household income band in this country for which that's an issue. I'm not in that band, right? So if I want to play the game, I'll play the game now, right? That's not a driving factor, right? It's just the fact that I don't want to play the game right now, and it doesn't matter to me.
I would say that, like, I mean that makes a lot of sense, and I would also say that the difference between a PC gamer and a console gamer is that a PC gamer has the option, and what is that option? Piracy.
Gar.
So if Sony wants to go that route,
we don't advocate piracy in this show.
I'm not advocating anything. I'm just, but these are facts, right? A PC gamer says, we don't like the price that this was priced at. I'm still playing the game. I can pay for it, or I can get it for free. So what you want to do? Because that's exactly what happened with Final Fantasy VII Remake. So it is what it is. Like, and as a console gamer, you don't have those kind of options. So you don't think that, and Sony is not, that's not unknown to Sony. So if they don't want to deal with that, and they don't want to price the game at $60, which other publishers are doing right now, instead of just put it at $70, and some of them are trying, the screens is trying it on PC. But for the most part, what you see is that it'll be 70 on consoles and 60 on PC.
60 on PC, yeah.
Because they know. We go ahead and make it $70 on PC, and we're just hurting ourselves.
I mean, that's
you could take the $60, or you can take no dollars. What you want to do?
I mean,
these are your options here.
You're not lying, Slow-Mo. I mean, I've always said, you want the best version of Breath of the Wild, it's not going to be on the Nintendo platform for sure. So yeah, there's some.
You want the best version of most games, they're not going to be on the console platforms.
Yeah. Steady Flow with the $5 super chat says, no flex, but y'all complaining about Forspoken being 70 and it's day one with PS5. That's why PlayStation games will not go day one on PC not anytime soon.
Hey, Steady Flow, you're right. You guys get for whatever the name of the game is. I don't know. Forspoken. You guys get Forspoken day one. I feel bad that I don't get that on PC.
Oh,
I'm not
you do
interested
get it day
in
one.
Yeah,
It's the first game ever to be listed at $70 on Steam.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
That's
Steady Flow
why
actually.
players got mad.
Yeah, Steady Flow actually.
Wanna bomb
Forspoken.
those
Yeah,
things.
Forspoken is launching on PC at $70 day one with PlayStation 5. So.
well, there you go. I don't even have to respond to that one. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Commander
and look
Trevor.
again. If people want to buy it, they're going to buy it for $70. If not, they'll wait for it to go on sale, or they'll just
It'll be
you know,
on sale real fast too.
yeah, or the
Or they'll
arrogance.
go Green Man Gaming or whatever. Or look, like these storefronts, like Epic has already shown that they do not give a crap what these publishers think. They understand the PC market. Every time a game comes out at on their store at $70, they make sure that the gamer actually has the option within their store to get it at 60. Like, these storefronts aren't done.
And Nick in the chat, look, you're right, and I apologize. The way I couch things and the way I snarked it up, it came off as arrogant.
Hey, don't apologize. Don't apologize, Tim Gamer.
Don't stop me from walking out. Look, that's not really the intent. The intent is really it's a counter about this thing that always comes up, which is there's this seems to be this effort that people want to make a PC gamer feel bad about PC based on a lot of requirements that aren't mine. Like, I'm fine sitting at my desk. I'm fine paying for PC hardware. I'm fine not playing those games that other people value so highly on day one. Those are not my requirements. Requirements are different for different customers on the market. I've made a choice. I'm totally fine with that choice. And if I wanted to do the other thing, I would simply choose to do the other thing. I don't have to and I don't want to. So what I'm trying to convey is maybe having this perspective that your platform of choice is better because of a bunch of requirements that don't matter to another consumer maybe isn't valid.
Yeah, no.
That's a mic drop right there.
Yeah, it was a mic. Steady Flow with a $5 super chat. That's what I mean. It's day one with PS5. That's why it's $70. Don't read it too fast. Okay, thank you.
We didn't read it fast. We just didn't really care for that part of it and discuss something different. Steady Flow, which is I'm not trying to, go in on you, but I'm just saying, like, we understood your point completely. Yeah. We're just saying that, like, we understand that, and Sony understands that, which is why Sony is not dropping these games. Well, part of the reason why they're not dropping these games day one on PC at this time. But what I'm telling you is that in the likelihood, or in the in somewhere in the multiverse, there's a Sony that's deciding to put their game $70 on PC day and date with PlayStation. What is going to happen is that they're going to just be hurting themselves because they're not going to get the sales, the overall revenue that they thought they were going to get. And look, clearly they got big plans for PC. They out here throwing hardware at on PC. They're out here telling their investors they're gonna they expect to earn $300 million on PC, in the next year, and look at showing their projections of how PC is going to grow more and more for them. And look, and all that stuff is definitely going to be possible for them, and I fully expect them to hit those numbers. All that said, you can't treat the PC market like the console market. It's just not the same.
It's a different beast.
Yeah. I'm just gonna be so happy when Sony reopens their PC division and starts making the Vio gaming PC and starts putting all their games day one on PC.
Well, I tell you what, if that Vio is sexy, I might have to pick one up, man. I might have to pick one up. If it's got purple RGBs.
The PlayStation Vio gaming PC.
Can you imagine with purple RGBs?
Did you guys see the thing where Sony said they wanted they want
to be like Nike?
They wanted to be the Nike.
Yeah.
Was it the PC market or PC hardware or just
peripherals?
Or just peripherals. Period.
Yeah.
What was y'all take on that? Because I took it as they meant like like as far as like style goes, not necessarily being the best, but just like
I took that as like just wreck brand.
They want their
brand
brand
recognition.
associated with computer peripherals. Because like Nike, when you think of shoes, Nike is probably the first shoe type that comes to mind. You know what I
Right.
mean?
right.
I took that to mean that they want their name to be the first thing that comes to mind when you think of a computer peripheral, which is kind of wild. That like
Yeah, very.
that's how hard. Like that. That's why like when people say they're never gonna go day one on PC, I'm just like, not soon, but never is also like not a good word.
Yeah. They're definitely taking the PC market way more seriously than people think they are.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, real quick, guys. Before I wrap up the show, I didn't mean to cut you off, Slomo.
No, I'm good.
BMW will be charging for heated seats, advanced cruise control, automatic beam switching, available as monthly subscriptions.
This is the second time they've tried this.
Look, this idea of subscriptions for services and vehicles isn't necessarily new. Like I'm doing that now, actually. If you think about radio, on things like OnStar, I actually have in vehicle
Tesla.
Yeah, Tesla, right? I have in vehicle Wi-Fi in my vehicle, so I can connect external devices to the internet and through my vehicle. I pay for that, but
So I had a question about this.
yeah, but this is interesting. Go ahead.
And I don't think they've made it clear. I don't know that they would do this, but if that was a price discount to buying a Beamer, right? Even if it wasn't 100%, right? Because I could see where it would make certain sense from a manufacturing perspective, right? It's less expensive to manufacture one homogeneous SKU, right? And so if their effort is to tamp down manufacturing prices, if they were going to sell me that Beamer for some type of discount for a bunch of those things, and I basically wouldn't pay for them until I actually use them. As for instance, I could argue that where I live, I don't need heated seats, right? Maybe a week out of the year, right?
No, man, we need heated seats in the wintertime, man. There's probably like November, December, January, February. There's probably about 4 months you might need those heated seats, man.
I don't personally need heated seats. I don't need heat on my butt. But I understand that some people do, right? But what I'm saying is, so that like the cost of that subscription, I think the cost of the lifetime subscription for the heated seats was like let's say it's $500, right? If they were going to knock $300 off the MSRP of the vehicle, right? I don't know that I would be that opposed to it.
Well, it's about $18 a month is what it costs.
Yeah, so there's different models. You can do I think you can do monthly, you can do annual, and you can do a lifetime purchase.
Lifetime's $400. I don't think. I mean, look, look. Here's the thing.
I think everybody gonna go with lifetime for that.
Yeah, I think when you're getting a BMW at that point, that kind of consumer, what's $415 at that point?
Right.
So I'm just gonna hotwire the seats and make them fucking work without the goddamn subscription. Fuck BMW.
I don't know
have enough electrical engineering skills that I can figure out how to rewire the car.
While we're joking, I don't think it's just going to be a hot wire. I think you're going to have to get into the firmware on the CAN bus somewhere to enable that.
I'll rip out freaking everything and put in a whole new panel.
Crusader's got to figure this out. Yeah, he's gonna.
Cheaper in the end.
Well, like Slomo said, piracy.
Yeah.
Right. Crusader's gonna be like
on
on
a USB in hours that I can
get what I
inject
want.
and seize control. Like,
I'm gonna get what I want.
Yeah. Speaking of Tesla, they do have a karaoke mic, but that's another conversation. Anyhow, I just wanted to throw that out there because that's been kind of going around and people are kind of like losing their minds. I'm like, well, this really isn't new. This idea of paying for services and vehicles, it's not a new concept per se.
so dumb.
I'm doing it now. I mean, I pay for OnStar because there's a value there for me.
I mean, that's been around for a while.
Yeah, OnStar's been around forever, but
So
Yeah.
at least all of those subscriptions are additive and making the car better in a way it wasn't before.
Right.
This is just making you pay for heated seats.
Yeah, 'cause-
Like,
yeah, 'cause-
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
additive to the experience. It's just making you pay.
Well,
for
yeah, I
something
mean that's
you
true.
didn't
Yeah.
have to
Well, I
pay
mean,
for
it
before.
could
is
it
true.
could be
It's
added
like-
to the experience. I mean, like if you
Doesn't
live like
OnStar call police for you if you're in a car accident and you
Yeah,
don't
like that's super.
oh yeah,
additive.
they'll
out
call
something.
they will actually because I just went through this with them recently because I got a vehicle and we had OnStar and had to activate it and they're like, yeah, this is how much it costs, this is what you get. If your car gets stolen, we can shut it off. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. We can notify the
Yeah,
police.
that's very cool. Yeah.
We can, if you get into an accident, we'll notify paramedics. We'll call you because they'll know if there's a collision in the vehicle and they'll call in, see if everyone's okay. They'll call, ambulance, stuff like that, police. There's some other things that they do. I forget with OnStar. They also have Wi-Fi. Like, so my vehicle has built-in Wi-Fi. It's 4G LTE.
Have you used the concierge service?
For what, OnStar?
Yeah, that's the thing. So the other thing it will do if you buy it at the highest tier, the other thing they will do, and I had OnStar in a vehicle where I was traveling around the country doing training for like 6 to 8 months before I went to a particular job, and one of the things you can do is OnStar will be your concierge. And so as we were rolling into town, I would punch the button and I would get them to make my hotel reservations, right? Or get them to make us, or I would take that car on dates and I would get reservations for the restaurant, right? While I was in the car. So
okay.
we'll do some very
That's
neat
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if I have that with them. I have to look, but
They will literally get you tickets to the opera, right? If you're subscribed at that service tier.
oh man, it's like Amex Black Card, man.
Yeah, that's
My car
way
doesn't even have
better
electric windows.
than charging me for heated seats.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My car doesn't even have electric windows right now. I have the old roll-up windows. I have a 2000 Ford Focus, so
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Like I was kind of like laughing when I saw the heated seat things. I'm like, oh, really? They're going to start charging for heated seat. This is going to be to me. It's interesting to see if people are going to vibe with this. I get some people who are like, you know what? I don't care. I'm spending $80,000-$90,000 on a vehicle. What the hell? There might be some other people like, hell no. Like this was a feature set that was included. I'm not paying for this. It's going to be interesting to see how this kind of pans. I think Crusader, you're right. This is the second time they've tried this, right?
yeah, it was the
Yeah.
second time they've tried the exact same thing.
Yeah. So I don't mind the OnStar thing. Like I don't think that's I see value in that.
That's totally additive.
Yeah.
Like that's a safety additive thing. That's
The Wi-Fi. I was kind of on the fence with it, but then I was like, you know what? Like, my kids can bring their tablets and they can connect to the internet, so that's actually not a bad thing.
How secure
like even
is
Sirius
that
XM.
Wi-Fi? I wonder. I'm thinking not very secure at all. But
I don't know. That's actually a great question, Slowbo. I don't know how secure it is.
I'm thinking it's. Maybe not.
And they set the Wi-Fi network for me. It's like Big Daddy something, or I don't know. It's weird.
No, they did not set your Wi-Fi password as Big Daddy.
No. The network name is like Big Daddy or something, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy that hacked its name is Big Daddy.
No, not the guy that hacked. No, that's what it's through OnStar.
It's funny.
I don't know, man. Anyhow, yeah. Anyhow, so I
kind of want to hack one just to mess around.
Well, here's the thing. Like the
Yeah,
thing is, I
it is.
have HDMI in the vehicle, so I can hook up a PlayStation and connect the PlayStation Wi-Fi in the vehicle.
What's the upload rate?
Well, I
What do
don't
you
know, man.
connect the what do you
I don't
connect
know.
your PlayStation to?
What's
as far
that?
as power.
Oh, there's a regular power outlet there.
Oh, so it's not even okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have one of those in the minivan.
Yeah,
when I was little.
I think my vehicle has like 2 batteries in it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
What
Things
an
are fun.
interesting turn this podcast.
Yeah,
took.
this
I know.
this
we're
went
car
completely,
talk now.
Yeah, car talk. Yeah, this is the car show on BRAP. No. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. Someone said hook up your PC, right? Yeah, definitely not doing that.
I don't think you get. I don't
think I
that's
could.
power.
Yeah. Can you imagine if I had a
work.
PC like tower in the back of my car? You know, I'd have to meet up to show you, just to show you what it looked like. So, anyhow.
Hey, I should mention one last thing.
Yeah.
Despite my love of PC, I will mention that I have become a console owner. I didn't mention when you guys were throwing shade at Nintendo, but the one console that I did go back to was the Nintendo Switch. I did pick up an OLED.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Welcome.
What you playing on?
Switch
there?
though, interesting. And I always have this land of the Switch.
I bought a Switch and a 3DS LL to jailbreak during COVID.
Nice. What were you saying, B Bunny? I'm sorry.
What are you playing on there?
Right now, start off with a little Monster Hunter Rise, the new Sunbreak expansion, and then I keep Diablo 3 loaded on there just because that's a thing that I want to go back to a lot. And I started replaying through Metro 2033 Redux.
Yeah, I haven't fired my Switch up in quite a while, but there's a few games coming out in the next couple weeks that I'm playing. So
Get Metroid Dread if you haven't.
but yeah, I got the collector's
It's
edition.
so good.
Shout out to our boy E. He had an extra one. I bought it from him. So
Oh, nice. Dread's great, man. Yeah, Dread's great.
yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, gentlemen, I do need to wrap up the show. I want to say thank you to everyone in the live chat. Thank you, everyone, for the super chats as well. Really appreciate it. And again, thank you, everyone in the live chat. Please hit that like button if you haven't done so. We had like over 150 people watch at one point. We only have 58 likes. Hit that like button. If you're new to the show, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're alerted when we go live. And a big shout out to our guests this evening. Game Logic, always a pleasure, man. We gotta get some Fortnite in, I guess, at some point this week. And Crusader, hey man, always a pleasure having you on. If you want to be found, let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me at Crusader3456 on basically every platform: Xbox, PlayStation, Twitter, Reddit, everything.
Nice. All right, man. Well, definitely, man, always.
It was good. It was great being on.
Yeah, no, really, really enjoy having you on, man. Thank you again for your time, man. Really appreciate it. And then big shout out to Gaming Forte. Couldn't make it. He was in the live chat. He's ducking us. He was ducking you, B. He's ducking you, man. He said he's happy.
Slander last week too. Not slander. Righteous comeuppance is what I like to call it. Because it's not slander when it's true. So yeah, he got what was coming to him.
That's too.
You'll get him soon, B. He'll show up eventually.
Yeah, he's gonna show up eventually. So, but Slobo, hey man, great. Thanks for joining us, man. I know you were. I guess you weren't. You were kind of a little bit under the weather, a little bit, man. So
yeah, still a little. I'm good though. I'm hanging in there, man.
No, I appreciate you coming on, man. And what's going on tomorrow, man? What do you got going on tomorrow?
We will see. It's kind of dry out here on topics. We might have some own custom made topics. I made my own Hallmark card kind of topics and that. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But it's gonna be a good show.
Yeah, those are always the best shows, man.
Oh yeah, it's
true,
about to be.
Yeah.
It's gonna be pretty wild tomorrow. We might just go completely left field. So we'll see what happens. But slow-mo backslap on everything. That's YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Tomorrow we got Damage Per Second podcast, me and Game and Forte at 9 p.m. Eastern on my channel. So come on through. We will definitely have topics. I promise you. We will have topics, and it will probably go for 3 hours because when we get started, it gets crazy. So yeah.
No. I'm sure it's going to be I'm sure it's going to be a great show tomorrow. And please, everyone, check out DPS podcast tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time. But Slomo, man, always a pleasure, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
We gotta get some Fortnite in too, Slomo, by the way. At some point, maybe this week as well. So
I agree. You know, like somebody. I'm not gonna say somebody was playing the game the whole entire time, but you know, just maybe someone was playing the game while they were podcasting the whole time.
Yeah, I wish I was hoping Forte was going to be here because I wanted to hear about these Fortnite lions that were attacking him.
Forte has like the worst eyesight ever. They're freaking warthogs, and it's like he's like, "Oh my God, there's a lion!" And literally, the entire group was like, "What? There's a lion in this game, really?" And then I look, and it's a warhog, and I'm like, "Bro, you cannot be serious."
Oh,
right
dude,
now.
T Rock said that to us, man. I was like, "What?"
So like, you cannot be serious right now.
Admittedly, T Rock told us that because I said the exact same thing.
Oh, no, you did. Did you really, Game
Logic?
Yeah, that was.
I don't remember that.
It's not. We were not right on top of the wolf. The wolf was out at very far distance, and I did not have a scope, so I didn't know
They're
what I was looking
black. Come on, look, Game Logic. Seriously, they're black though. They're black.
All right, man, you got me. I guess if I'm going to be guilty of something, I'm guilty of calling the wolf the lion. You got me. I hope you feel proud of yourself.
So
I do actually. Thank you.
I've played Fortnite all of 5 minutes, so all of this is going right over my head.
It's a fun game.
No, I think
with no
build
mode. I like it with no build mode. But
yeah, no
like
build mode.
Permanent.
Kids building the Taj Mahal as soon as I shoot at them. I ain't down with all that.
Yeah,
but
I don't
like,
have time
no
for
build
that.
mode's great.
Yeah, no build mode's great, but no, you know, Game Logic. I think what makes it funnier is that it's Forte, and it's like a Forte thing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, B Money. Look, if anyone, if you missed earlier the show, you need to go back and listen to the early part of the show. B Money was dropping nuggets again. Listen to when this man speaks. B man, let everyone know they can find you, man.
They can find me everywhere. Same name, B Money 101. All your favorite gaming platforms, PC, all that stuff. So I'm back on Battlefield. I've been playing a little Fortnite. So if you play 2042, hit me up.
Hey B, let's
We
go.
gotta get that in, man. Like
my
bad.
How is it?
It's
fun,
better
man.
now. It's better now. Yeah.
I might have to check it out.
Is it crossplay?
Yes,
It is.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
crossplay.
All right. Hit me up. I'll
B-
join.
Yeah, B, let's try to
we
get some Fortnite in too, man.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, we should definitely do that. Try to figure that out this weekend.
I haven't spent any crazy money like some of you guys have. I don't know what the hell you guys are doing.
Speaking of
What
$20 games, sir.
are you implying? B?
I
I
heard
don't
from
know. I've seen some dances. I've seen some characters.
Oh wait, what's that? Look over there. It's a whale.
Hey,
I don't
know,
wanna- I don't
AKA
wanna hear
slow-mo.
any more
and
two-face
what
slander from this point on.
dollar amount do you become a whale? What's the dollar amount? I promise I'm under it.
Slow-mo, I've heard
I
you've
don't
been
know,
buying a lot of
Slow-mo.
stuff.
Huh?
I've heard you've been buying a lot of stuff.
It's hard to resist, man. I don't know what
I
it
don't blame
is.
you,
This game, they got some kind of voodoo in this game. They wrote literal magic voodoo into the code somehow. I don't know what it is, but it's just like I see. Yeah, they had Street Fighter banned, and then I was like, yo, is that Chun-Li? Is that Ryu? Is that Cammy? Oh,
Hey,
there's a pack for a sale. Oh, like that's you know, it's
slow-mo,
like
slow-mo.
damn.
T-Rock
got
was
me.
doing like salsa or something, merengue dancing, right?
Yeah.
Latin music kicked on, and I'm like, where do I buy that?
Yeah, see, that's how it works. It's like
That-
someone else does it, and you're just like, damn, how'd you
That's
get
what
that?
Game Logic said. It's the meta, right? Game Logic.
That's right. Welcome to the metaverse. Epic Games is doing it right.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'm not well. I'm really not. I just.
You got that Thor
I'm
outfit.
a sucker for. I don't have Thor. I do not. I do
Captain
have
America.
Captain America.
I was gonna
and
say Captain-
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh, T-Rock said the conga. That's what it is, the conga. That's what he's doing, and he says that everyone can join if he does it. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I've seen. And then somebody was aliens, an alien from Aliens.
That was Blaze, who's been getting tons of crap for playing Fortnite from people, which is funny. I think that's funny.
That is
what you
funny,
want,
actually.
man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, we are out. Gentlemen, panel, it's been a pleasure as always. BRAP will be back. I might do a BRAP rant maybe this weekend. We'll see. But we'll be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. On that note, we're out. Everyone enjoy the rest of your week. Peace.